What up, though, One Pride? This is the Roar of the Lions UK podcast, the podcast where One Pride goes worldwide. My name is Anthony Fitzpatrick, and I'm here for another edition of the Friday night Q&A, where I give up an hour or so of my Friday night, technically Saturday morning here now, because we've just ticked past midnight, to answer any and all questions about the Lions, the NFL, the draft, whatever you please, just to, because we only do one show a week at the minute, we like to try and keep active. So we've been doing this Q&A the last few weeks. It seems to have gone pretty well, so yeah. If you're in the building, if you've got anything to ask, then please do fire away. Hope everyone is doing well today. First off, want to give a shout out. I hope and pray that any of you who listen with us in the Michigan area, we've seen the devastation which has happened in the Three Rivers and Mount Union area with that massive tornado that happened earlier today. Hopefully none of you have been affected by that and that you are all safe. That thing was an absolute monster, and it is not what you want to see going through areas with lots of people involved. So thoughts and prayers with everyone who's had to go through that, and hopefully again it has not affected anyone there today, especially you guys who listen to us. So yeah, hopefully everyone is alright. So yeah, I'm going to be here for the next hour or so, and let's face it, we're not short of topics to talk about today, are we? We're sort of 3 days away now from legal tampering beginning. Obviously on Monday all the deals are going to start getting announced, and we're going to see the rosters of all the teams next year start to take shape. And for the Detroit Lions, my oh my oh my, are we not having a lot of holes to fill this year? The list keeps on growing, and the very first comment in the chat, obviously the one we're all thinking about, Rich Baldwin saying Lions have released Taylor Decker. Yes, that is the big news today. Our left tackle, since 2016, 9 years he has been protecting the blind side of Detroit Lions quarterbacks. One of the most tenured players on the team, the most tenured player on the team, and the last remnants of the Bob Quinn era here, has requested his release from the Lions, and the Lions have agreed to it. And the wording around this, when he said, there were conversations that were had when I said was coming back. Conversations I was not expecting. We all know what that means. It's conversations to do with money. His cap hit was up at about 18 to 19 million this year, and the Lions in a bit of a tight cap situation this year, if they don't want to be using restructures here, there and everywhere, have obviously gone to one of their veteran players and asked if he will take a discount to play for the season, given that his injury history recently, he is not able to play to his highest level. He is not always necessarily going to play a full season right now because his body is just not capable of it. But Taylor Decker did not agree. He signed his new big shiny contract a couple of years ago. He obviously wanted to keep playing on that. The teams did not see eye to eye, so hopefully they have amicably departed. But that leaves a massive hole for the Lions to now fill, whether it be a new left tackle or a new right tackle. It is a new starter that we need. We have 2 picks in the top 120 in the draft. So we are not going to be able to sort all our starting issues in the draft. We are going to have to get down and dirty in free agency this year. And free agency, it is not the greatest class in the world, so you're going to have to get ready to cough up some money, which we don't really have right now. So it's going to be a really interesting situation to follow. Let me get through some of these comments and we'll circle back round to Decker. The Yupicorn says, first in honor of Killer Kowalski. Lauren Van Der Esch goes, have you heard of the Michigan Arrows? The Michigan Arrows, the new summer football team that's coming to Michigan. I believe the new head coach is Coach Jones from the Boss Up Ball Out podcast. I've chatted with him on many occasions. He loves the game. He knows what he's on about. I see him vigorously recruiting all over Twitter. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, the Panthers are no more. We're not going to see no Michigan Panthers this year. So, hopefully, the Michigan Arrows might be able to fill in a little bit of that summer lust for football as we go along. But, yeah, I've heard about them. I know the guy who's running it. I wish him all the best. I hope he has a lot of success with it. He works hard. And, I'm rooting for him, as we all should root for one another. Danny Matt goes, yo, Ant. Hey, Danny. Glad some of the Brits are in here. It's a bit of a late stream today. I've been at my dad's this evening, and I got back kind of late. But I was like, no, I'm going to do the pod anyhow. It's about 7 o'clock over there for you guys, so it's a much more palatable time for your lot. So I don't mind. And plus, I've got a lot to get off my chest today, given with all this Decker news here. Terry Perry goes, "Hey Anthony, how are you doing tonight?" I'm good. I have some Baileys. It is a cold night, so I've got some Baileys to warm up the old cockles, as they say. And yeah, I've got you guys here, so I'm doing pretty well. Done an hour of football this evening, so pretty tired right now, but hey ho, it is the way it is. When you get to 36, it all starts to ache a little bit more. Lauren goes, "A new pro team coming to Michigan this summer. Steve Kazor as head coach, yeah. Pepper Johnson as defensive coach. I didn't know that, but I know they've got Steve Kazor. But yeah, looking forward to seeing them." The Yupacorn goes, "Timely stream for the Pride. We need a way to talk about all that is going on." Lauren goes, "Ant-Man, my main man from the Jew Crew." Absolutely. If any of you are from the Jew Crew here, we appreciate the hell out of you all. Love Dan, love his platform, love everything about it. Love my Tuesday sessions with him. So yeah, thank you for joining in here as well. Sterry goes, "Do you think the Lions are in trouble now with Decker's release, David Montgomery trade, injuries and no cap space, and not enough draft picks to fix all the holes we've seen?" So this is the question now, right? And this is what is dividing Lions land a lot at the minute. There's a lot of arguing on Lions Twitter now, and of course there's always arguing amongst the fan base, but it seems particularly deep this year, and I want to say I'm falling more on the side of being more critical right now. Critical, I don't know if maybe it's the right word, but I am very concerned about next season. Not that I don't believe in this team, not that I don't believe in the talent we have. I think we've got a lot of talented players. I think we've got a lot of very high-class players, all-pro players, you name it. I like the way the team has been built, and there's been a lot of good here, but we can't deny even the staunchest defenders of the regime, and Brad, and I love Brad, I'm not complaining about Brad here, even the staunchest defenders of the way we're doing this project now have got to be worried, because for me this is a very big year for us. We're heading into year 6. We've not had a playoff win in the last 2 seasons. We didn't even make the playoffs last year. I feel this year, 26, is a year that the Lions have really, to not lose the momentum of what they are about, what the team is about, the culture here, the belief in the culture that we can go far. I think the team has to make a good run into the playoffs this year, for damn sure. They've got to get to the playoffs. They've got to win playoff games, and they've got to get back towards that NFC Championship game to show they're still heading in the right direction. Because if you, God forbid, had another season you didn't get to the playoffs this year, the detractors for the regime are just going to multiply. They're going to get louder. We don't know how the players are going to interact with this, because the players have been used to being at a team which is ascending. It has stalled right now. We can't afford to keep stalling if we want the players to keep believing in this team. And the overall point to this now is, you look at next year's team, can we field a team that can get us to the playoffs and can win us playoff games? Right now, no. And again, we're right before free agency. We've not started the strengthening portion of this yet. But when you look in isolation at all the positions we need to fill now, we need a new left tackle, unless you move Penne, but we need a new starting offensive tackle in this league. That is a bare minimum. They are tough to get in the draft. You have to get them really high. They are hella expensive in free agency, and there are not many of them hanging around. So that's a very big hole for us to fill now. On top of everything we needed before, we need a good centre. The centre market is drying up. Garrett Bradbury has just been traded to the Bears. Tyler Biadasz has gone to the Chargers. The number of guys on the market are getting less. You have Tyler Linderbaum, who's going to cost you 20 to 25 million a year. You've got Connor McGovern. Connor McGovern's market was going at between 13 to 16 million a year, and now with Biadasz gone, the word is that there is a bidding war for him now, because he's that second tier guy behind Linderbaum for teams who don't want to spend. If your ceiling was already at 16 million and you're in a war, you're potentially going to be paying 17, 18 million a year anyhow for Connor McGovern. And if you're paying 18 million for Connor McGovern, you may as well pay 22 million for Tyler Linderbaum. I don't think the difference is there. Regardless, you are going to pay through your nose. And I don't think we can go for a secondary option like Lloyd Cushenberry or someone like that. They're just not good enough. with our guard situation being sketchy with youngsters in there, you've got to have a good centre in a high-level centre. We've got to invest in centre. So for me, we've got to put some money into the centre position in free agency, which is going to cost us. But now we've got the tackle that we need to get as well. My thoughts are the Lions will go and get their tackle in the draft. I don't think there's a snowball's chance in hell they do it in free agency. Since 2001, we've had 3 left tackles. We've had Jeff Backus, we've had Riley Reef, we've had Taylor Decker. All drafted by the Lions, all drafted in the first round. I'm pretty sure Jeff Backus was a first round pick. We like to draft our left tackles of the future. We don't go to free agency for them. We go to the draft and we get our guys, and we have done this entire century so far. So you've got to spend one of your major picks in the draft on your tackle position. You've got to spend major money on the centre position in free agency. And then you're getting to all the other problems you've got. You need an edge too, regardless whether you're coming from the draft. You probably need another veteran edge rusher in as well. You're going to have to go through free agency. You might need a couple of them, so you need that as well. You need a new pass rushing defensive tackle to bolster the depth in that room, because you're not getting enough pressure through the interior from your guys. And hopefully Aleem will come good this year, but you need a specialist as well, so you need a defensive tackle. If Alexander Ziloni leaves, which it looks like he's going to, you need a new coverage linebacker. Coverage linebackers are very expensive, be it through free agency or be it through draft. You don't get these guys on day 3, and you don't get these guys for 3-4 million a year either. So you need a coverage linebacker, you need backup linebackers, and then we need secondary. We need new corners in terms of depth. You need new safeties, because you don't know how your frontline 2 safeties are going to work next year in regards to the injuries and that. So you're going to need a veteran safety in the building, and you're probably going to need some more safety depth as well in the building. So you've got a lot of holes to fix now, and you don't really have the resources to fix it unless you are going to restructure everything to hell. And we don't really want to do that. We want to restructure. We want to have enough money to get our guys, but we don't want to push too much into the future, because that screws up future cap going forward. And we don't want to be like the New Orleans Saints. So in answer to the question, am I concerned? I am concerned. It doesn't mean I've given up on the team. I haven't. It doesn't mean I don't think the team are good. I'm just been very realistic when the positions we need to fill with good quality starters to allow us to make the push that we need next year to keep showing progress with this team. I find it difficult to see how we're going to do it. To me, this year is starting more and more to feel like it's going to be a bit of a retool and getting ready to go again in 12 months. And I don't think we can afford a retool right now. That's kind of where I'm at with it. So, yes, I'm concerned, but free agency hasn't even hit yet. They may pull a rabbit out their ass, and this time next week we might all be happy as Larry. They might go out and make some major deals. They might get some very good value deals. I don't want us to go down the injury route again, but we've got to wait and see how free agency plays out first, and then we'll see how much we need going into the draft. Because if we still got a lot of holes going into the draft, then we've got to be a little bit concerned. But yeah, Decker retiring doesn't help. We did need a tackle anyway, but you've gone from potentially getting a development level tackle to be ready next year, which costs less, to getting a ready-made starter to go, which costs more. So it certainly has not made it easy for us. So yeah, we will see. But I'm not saying they're in trouble. I'm just saying this is a difficult situation now. And again, with centres, the entire NFC North's looking for one. The competition is going to be fierce for them, so we're going to have to spend some moolah, and it depends how aggressive they want to be with that. So yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, but I think, now we've got to be aggressive on Monday for damn sure. We've got to get in there early. Don't let the first day of free agency go and don't go anything. We need to get amongst those high-level guys. So that's where I'm at the minute. Terry goes, I said at the time re-signing him would backfire. Decker, I don't know. I mean, it was 2 years ago. He's got 2 years of his deal left, so we've gotten near to the end of his deal. It's not like it's 4 years to go with it, but This is again coming to roost. I don't believe the Lions have done a good enough job developing for the future on their offensive line. They haven't drafted very well. They've drafted development guys in round 4 and round 5 and 6. They've not drafted guys in like round 2 and round 3 who they can sit and develop into high-level players. They have taken a lot of wild swings on day 3 guys, and they've not come to fruition. Colby Sorsdal would be perfect right now if he was available for us. He's not. He's not going to be on the roster next year. Giovanni Manu, he was drafted for a situation like this. This is going to be the start of his 3rd season in the NFL. He's running out of excuses to not be contributing to this team right now, but he's not contributing to this team. It's not worked. So we're starting to see the effects of our day 3 picks not working for several years now. We're really and that's causing depth issues for us overall. So I don't think it's just Decker's decision. It's just we've not prepared well enough for the departure of these guys. We didn't for Frank. We spent years ignoring the centre position, and we've spent years ignoring swing tackle. We've not had a good swing tackle since Tyrell Crosby. And how long ago did Tyrell Crosby retire? A long ass time ago, or leave. A long time ago, probably 5 years now. We've not invested well enough, and this is kind of what happens with it. So, but you can't do everything. Great Lakes State guy Michigan says the Chicago Bears are owning us already this off-season. I wouldn't say owning. I mean, we're very early yet. We've not even reached free agency. Garrett Bradbury's a terrible centre. They have settled for someone did his grades against Graham last year. Garrett Bradbury barely played better than Graham Glasgow this year, and everybody was bemoaning how bad Graham Glasgow was for us this year. I remember Garrett Bradbury from his Vikings day. He was rubbish then, he's rubbish now. The Bears have made a panic signing. I don't really think they've gotten much better putting Garrett Bradbury on their roster. They've lost DJ Moore. They got a second for him, which was good business, but he was still one of their big parts there. They've lost Tremaine Edmonds. I don't think anyone's owned anybody so far. Certainly the Garrett Bradbury signing does not impress me with them, but, we do have to catch them up. Great Lakes goes, go get Taylor Decker, guys. He can't practice as is a bionic injury man. Where are you going, Decker, at 45 with more injuries and sit time than Davenport last year? Decker played most of last year. Nobody's played less than Marcus Davenport these last few years. Taylor Decker and again, the fan base has turned on him very quickly. I am not a Taylor Decker apologist. I have actually been one of his biggest critics over the years. Out of all of the guys on the pod, I've probably been the lowest on him over his tenure overall. And even I think people have been too critical with him here. He was an average league left tackle last year. Average league left tackles are like gold dust. And he played for the most part. He's been healthy for most of it. He's just obviously not been able to play to the toughest of his ability with his debilitating injuries. So I still would have liked him this year. Even if he only plays a bit, he's at least a decent starter. But we are a worse team without him, and it's going to take things to. We got to replace him now. We're not going to add to the talent with him here. We're going to have to replace the talent, and I don't like replacing the talent because you just don't get anywhere with that. We are about 2 hours south of that tornado. Again, hopefully everyone in the Mount Union and Three Rivers area is safe. I watch a meteorologist on YouTube. I'm watching him now. I like watching his streams because I like watching storms and stuff. His storm chasers tracked it all, and it's absolutely crazy, some of these things that go off. We just don't get anything like this in this country, so the weather over there is fascinating, but yeah, I hope no one has been affected by it. It looked absolutely awful. Terry goes, if Holmes brings back Davenport, he needs to be fired ASAP. If Holmes brings Davenport back, you will witness a grown man have a temper tantrum on here. I will spit my dummy out. He will not come back. There's no way he can make that choice again. Even Brad isn't that stupid, he says. But you will see me freak out for damn sure. Danny Mac goes, Ant is a big Michigan man, so it makes sense he likes the arrows. Where's that Fry gif? I'm doing the Fry gif to you now. I don't know what that was. I'm narrowing my eyes. Damn well I'm an NC State guy. Bears are going to end up with Linderbaum on Crosby or one or the other. Mind you, I've liked Brad, but what are we doing? Who knows? I don't think the Bears will end up with Linderbaum now they've paid Bradbury. He's on $7 million this year. The Bears' cap situation isn't much better than ours. They can restructure a lot, but they've already spent a lot of big deals on free agents, and they've built differently to us, so I don't think they will. They may well go after Crosby. I would hate it, but you know, they trade their star players. DJ Moore, they've got a second round pick for. We pay our star players. We don't trade anybody. If we're not trading anybody and getting extra picks to get involved in these big sweepstakes, that's kind of where I've had the problem with Brad, is we can't pay everybody. We've got to start trading for some picks eventually, but it is what it is. If they end up with one or both, fine. I trust Brad, but Brad's going to have to do a lot this year. But he's not had the chance to yet. We've not got to free agency, so Brad has the benefit of the doubt every single day of the year with me until we see what free agency ends up shaking and baking like. Interviewed a guy cut from the Browns who's missed all of last year, 8 games the year before, 5 the year before that. Yeah, Jedrick Wills. I was surprised at the pushback I got off this. People seem to see former first round pick and their eyes light up and they go, ooh, shiny. We can, you know, we're like the girl who says we can fix him. We can fix the toxic guy. We can fix the nasty man and he can be our Prince Charming. Not all guys are there to be saved. We've just done this with Marcus Davenport. We did it with Emmanuel Mosley beforehand. These guys who are hurt don't suddenly get better again. And you rightly mentioned, he's not played serious football now. By the start of next year, he won't have played in basically 2 years. And even when he was playing at the Browns, he was average. I don't like using PFF grades, but PFF thought he was terrible. Browns fans didn't think he was that good. And people are just going, well, he's 26, we can develop him, we can fix him. But can you? The Browns, for the most part, they've developed their linemen pretty well. Like, they do a pretty good job there doing that. I don't think it's a coaching issue with him. I don't care if he's 26 and he's a former first-round pick. He didn't play well before he was injured. He's been injured for a year and a half. And, you know, the stats came out the other day. We've had two of the most injured defenses in history the last 2 years by AGL. Like, we've missed so many games because we've had injured players on our team, and unfortunately we don't help ourselves because we have so many guys with injury histories having positions of prominence on our team. Davenport last year meant to be a starter. Levi last year meant to be a starter. Pascal last year meant to at least be a heavy part of the rotation always injured, meant to be a starter. Ennis Rakestraw meant to be the starting nickel corner. Injury history, it's 4 guys there who you're expecting to give you major reps on the season, and they've all been injured. They've all been out for multi-years, or they've all had multiple injury worries. And lo and behold, Pascal didn't play a snap, Rakestraw didn't play a snap, Levi didn't play a snap. Davenport may as well have not played a snap. He didn't do anything even when he did. I think he managed about 190 in the end. And so 4 guys we put in positions of prominence on our defence and expected to deliver, despite the fact knowing damn well they're injured all the time. We're not helping ourselves with these amount of games we're listening. I mean, we go into next year, right? Branch is going to be missing with an Achilles for some time. We don't know what's happening with Kirby Joseph and his degenerative knee. We might be without him for a while as well. Terrion Arnold has just had shoulder surgery. He's dealing with concussion issues as well. DJ Reed is dealing with hamstring issues. That's 4 guys who are meant to be starters on your team who go into next year with questionable injury issues. Aleem McNeil is still recovering from his ACL tear. We don't know how that's affected him long term just yet. He might be carrying injury worries. That's 5. And then we've got to bring in new starters. That's just 5 of our current starters. We're replacing 4 starters on that defence. You bring in guys who've got injury histories. We've got a lot of guys who are going to be in positions to start this year, or we expect them to contribute, who are either injured or are nursing serious injury worries. So you cannot be putting more people into starting positions who have injury histories or who might are not durable enough. And that's going to be an issue for us. That's what we've got to sort. If Ennis Rakestraw makes the roster next year, he should be the bottom cornerback on the depth chart. There should be no one below him because he's not relevant. He's not played football in 3 years barely by the time of next season. Expect nothing. If you get something from him, fine, but he's not holding a position of importance. If Levi makes the roster, he's the bottom DT on the depth chart. Again, if he stays healthy and plays well, your bottom DT is a very good player. You do well for yourself. Pascal, if he makes the roster, he's got to be the bottom edge on your depth chart. Can't be holding positions of importance there. But yeah, we've got to, going back to the Wills point, we've got to quit it with these injury guys because they're bogging us down. Jedrick Wills is not a good tackle and he's an injured tackle. There's no recovering that and we're just wasting a spot. If he wants to come to camp and try out, fine. If he impresses in camp, move him on to pre-season. If he does well in pre-season, maybe give him a roster spot then, but you do not go out and pursue him and give him more money than he needs to come here. If he's looking for money, let him go elsewhere and someone else spend it on them. I am not a fan of bringing him in. Vented's in and goes, when you look at the 23 roster and the current roster, there is a good reason to worry. It's the same players but less, and the 23 team couldn't get it done. Right now, yes, but we have free agency and a draft to come, so we have to see. I get the worry, I really do. I'm on your side. I get the worry right now, but we have 2 major acquisition phases coming up for this team, and then we've usually been pretty good at working the summer phase where teams start cutting roster players and finding guys in that phase as well. So we've got plenty of chances to upgrade the roster. We just need to be aggressive in doing it, and I get people are worried about the team not showing aggression to do it. They think they're going to take it slow, just fix what they can, and then go into next season with a load of holes and not care because we can always sort it next year. But I don't think the team is going to do that, but I get the concerns. Great Lakes goes, and now we're relying on Varkey to play more than 8 snaps this year. Sucks because the Zart guy is super talented, but come on, Varkey, yeah, Varkey's in the category. The fact that we're looking for a running back too, he should be up there now. He's taken 8 carries for the team. He's been a great special teamer. He's done what's asked of him, but we have absolutely no idea if he's going to be a good running back at the next level yet. So Varkey, at best, should be a running back 4 next year. If Varkey's not your running back 4, then that's, that needs to be rectified. He needs to be buried down that depth chart and then slowly worked into the system. But certainly he should not be holding an important position on the roster next year. Even though it's year 3 and he should be, he's not earned that place yet, so we're going to have to wait and see it there. Yupacorn goes, Cade Mays is my choice, young and big. Cade Mays is going to be the same as McGovern. The market's going to be huge for these guys, so we're going to have to spend... And of course, every other team that wants a centre, they ain't all going to want to go after Linderbaum, because they don't all want to spend 22, 23 million on a centre. All these teams are going to be looking at McGovern and Mays and these guys, and each player is going to have his own individual battle, and the price is going to get knocked up. There is no way we are finding one of these guys for less than 10 million a year. And even then, it's probably not even going to be close to 10, but it's probably going to be closer to 15 million a year. If you get one of these 3 under 15 mil a year, I think you've done a good job. And Cade Mays doesn't have the history at centre. He's been a starter this year, but I prefer guys who've got a bigger body of work there. So, I get it. He's the cheaper option. But McGovern's the scheme fit option. So, it's... And the Lions are very picky about scheme adaptability. They won't take players who and think they can change them into doing what they've got to do what they do, otherwise they're no use there. So, I get it. Cade Mays could be the guy. What is the secret to teams like the Eagles, Bears and others just seemingly having bottomless money and cap space? I don't think there's any secret. The Eagles' secret, the Eagles don't pay all their draft successors. Like at the minute, there's the rumour going around that they're willing to trade Jalen Carter as part of the Max Crosby deal right now. But when you think about it, they let some of their starters go last year. They let Josh Sweat go. They let... who was the other one? The defensive tackle. Milton Williams, I think it was. They let him go. Both those guys garnered $50 million deals elsewhere. And those picks go into comp picks. So they'll either trade their young talent away or they'll let some other team pay a massive amounts of money and they will get comp picks. The comp picks then go back into the system. The reason the Eagles are so good at the deadline is because they've got comp picks from the upcoming year. So like this year, I think they traded a third or something for Jalen Phillips, whatever it was. But the pick they traded for Jalen Phillips was fine because they immediately had another pick coming back to them in this draft through a comp pick. So they can throw a third or a fourth away because they're going to get a third or a fourth in the next comp pick cycle because they don't pay all their players. So Howie Roseman's good at having draft capital available, not just for the draft, but for the trade deadline. I've always said this about Holmes. Holmes good at getting capital for the draft, but he's terrible at having capital for the trade deadline. Like this year, just gone, we've got no thirds. So that really inhibits your ability to work at the trade deadline, because not many first round or second round picks get handed over at the trade deadline. It's third rounds, fourth rounds, fifth rounds for these half-season rentals or whatever that you want to try and get. And we didn't have any of those this year, really, without screwing up our draft. For this year, if we'd have given away 118 at the trade deadline, we wouldn't have a pick between 50 and 155 this year. That's a position gap of 105. 2 picks in the top 150. So for me, the Eagles play the comp game well, and you know the Lions are just obsessed about paying their own players, which is a good thing, but at some point, you've got to let them go and reinvest some capital in the team. It's not about who can pay the most players the most amount of money. It's about who wins the Super Bowl. Like this class of 23 coming up, I don't think we should pay all 4 of them. I think we should look at trading some of them. High round draft picks to reinvest into the team. There you go. But that's how the Eagles do it. For the others, I mean, the Bears, I don't know how the Bears go about it. They just hand out loads of massive contracts in free agency. They don't guarantee a lot of the money, and then they just cut and recycle. Fair enough, they've drafted a bit better in recent years, but they've worked free agency better than we have. But they don't have that much cap than us this year. The Bears' cap situation is exactly like ours this year. They've not got much cap now. They can restructure a lot of cap, but they don't have much actual cap. And, you know, we have a better young core than them. So I'd take our position over the Bears for sure. They've just had to let DJ Moore go because they can't afford to pay him. They've had to let Tremaine Edmonds go because they can't afford to pay him. Like, our players aren't leaving because we can't afford to pay him. It's because, you know, they want bigger roles or more money elsewhere. They want more playing time elsewhere. They don't want to take a pay cut. So it's kind of different how they've done it. But, you know, unfortunately, having such a large young core means we can only really operate one way. That's the trouble with it. But, yeah. Yupicon goes, what chance can Frazier start outside next year? None. Absolutely zero. I don't like... The Lions are not good at working position versatile players. They're not. I hate to say it. The Lions love players with positional versatility, but when it comes to the offensive line, Taylor Decker was always a left tackle. You know, Frank Ragnow was always a centre. Penei Sewell's always been a right tackle. Zeitler was a natural right guard. You know, Mahogany's been a left guard. You know, we have specialists who work the positions. We are not good at cross-training guys. We can't cross-train guys. We tried to cross-train Sorsdal, failed. You know, we tried to use Glasgow at multiple positions, failed, kind of. And I despise moving players around. Miles Frazier has not played much tackle in his career. And we don't train guys very well either. There's a reason he's a 6th round pick. I'm just not of this opinion that he's suddenly going to turn into this wonderful starter for us. Could he be great interior depth for us? Absolutely. Could he maybe get that left guard spot? Yes, but a tackle spot? No. And I don't think he should be. We've got to pack it in with these positionless players because the Lions are absolutely atrocious at trying to use positionless players. Brian Branch is literally the only one who's really worked. Look at everybody else on that defensive line, failed. At linebacker, don't do really that well. In the secondary, we've got specialists again. We don't move around and get funky with them. So no, I don't like positionless players. I don't want Frazier to move. Just like I don't want Tate to move to centre. He's never played there. It's historically a bad road to take. It doesn't really work. Only Froholt's done it, like recently. Who's been any good? I just don't want to do it. Great Lakes goes, call me crazy, but I can see the same thing happening with Laporta as what happened with Hawkinson with us. Injuries and too much money. Use that room to rebuild the line. Laporta's the obvious one, right? Campbell ain't going nowhere. Gibbs ain't going nowhere. And if Brian Branch gets healthy again and the Achilles doesn't bother him, Brian Branch ain't going nowhere. You hear how many safeties at the Combine this year mentioned Brian Branch as the player they aspire to be. They weren't saying names like Kyle Hamilton or, Derwin James or any of these other big free safeties. They were saying Brian Branch again and again, and Kirby, but you get the point. They want to be him again and again and again. Laporta, as much as I love him, would be the one, because tight ends you can replenish at easier in my view. So he would be, but they'll keep all four. There's no way any of them are going anywhere unless Branch and Laporta, their injuries are debilitating. Terry goes, Holmes needs to stop signing guys too early. He needs to start trading guys for draft capital or let guys walk when their rookie deals are done. Le'Veon needs to be released. I get signing rookies early so they're cheaper. I don't think that's necessarily the problem. Because, you look at the guys who signed deals. Kirby, we didn't know Kirby was going to get a degenerative knee injury. We didn't know Aleem was going to tear his ACL. These are freak accidents sometimes that happen with these guys. I'm all for signing them more early, unless they've got injury worries beforehand. Like Branch and Laporta now, they've got injury worries beforehand. So I don't want to give them new deals till they're healthy. The rest of them were signed early deals. Like Amon-Ra signed early. His contract has been wonderful. Penny, his contract, been wonderful. Like, with a lot of the guys, it's worked. Signing them early has really cheapened them for us. Amon-Ra's like I think when Alec Pierce gets signed on Monday, whatever his ridiculously high deal is going to be, Amon-Ra's going to be barely in the top 10 of receivers in the NFL now in terms of money he's getting. I think that was a tremendous deal for him, so I'm not against that. It's just if they've got injury history beforehand. So, and of course you just can't hand so many deals out. Aleem, Amon-Ra, Penny, J-Mo. You've got 5, 6, 7 big deals on the roster already. You add 4 more to it. You can't have 11 mega deals on your roster. You just can't, because that fucks with your cap too much. So, I agree. He has to start looking to trade some of his talent. We can't just hoard it all the time and overpay it. We've got to. Because now we're seeing a problem with this team. And I've said it for a while. When you pay your youngsters all the money, that then creates a problem with your veterans. Because the youngsters get all the money and the veterans then start to suffer. And we're starting to see this now. Alex Anzalone has been alienated from the team because they've not been able to pay him what he thinks he's worth, because we can't afford to pay him what he thinks is worth. Because our cap's tight, because we've got so much money invested in the rookies. And we're about to lose Alex. David Montgomery, we've alienated him by pushing him out the team because Jahmyr Gibbs, they want to be the star. And for some reason, they eked Montgomery out the picture and they've annoyed him. His touches have gone down. We've lost David Montgomery. He wanted to leave. And now Taylor Decker has been asked to take a pay cut. He didn't want to. And now he's left and he's had to take a pay cut. Yes, because of the injury and the inconsistent play. But they've asked him to take a pay cut because they need to find money from somewhere. And you look at the veterans to start. You're looking at guys this year. We might not be able to re-sign Rock Ya-Sin. He's a veteran, but we can't pay him a good amount of money because we don't have it. Al-Qadim Mohammed, we're probably not going to be able to afford to pay him after his 11.5 sack season because we can't afford it. And now we're seeing a disconnect because we can't pay our veterans. We don't look after our veterans very well because we just push them aside for the youngsters. And it's creating, and that's the problem with building a young core that have all the money. We've said you can't have these 7, 8, 9, 10 million a year contracts now as much because so much of your money's tied up with the young guys. And we're going to struggle with veterans. And we're seeing that disconnect now. That's 3 veterans we're going to lose in a week Anzalone, Montgomery and Decker for various reasons that involve the cap and the younger players. And it might not be the end. Who knows? We will see. Levi needs to be released. Levi, let him come to camp. If Levi Onwuzurike can stay healthy all summer and look good in camp, let him be the last DT on your roster. Don't get rid of him just yet, because we have seen what he can do, but you don't pencil him in on that 53 yet. You make him work his socks off to get it. The same with Rakestraw, the same with Pascal, Hassanin, all those guys. They're going to have to bust their arses off to make the 53 and prove that their health is where it should be and what we need it to be. They need to not sign these guys like the Browns cut linemen, then we end up having to sign scrubs when they get hurt at the trade deadline. Yes, we've got to be careful with the injury histories for sure. I've lost my bit there. Where was I? Upicorn goes, this was the kind of year that has been coming, just like last year with the coaches. Brad's biggest failing is getting his timing wrong on contracts. I'd have to look more into that. I don't... Elaborate for that one. What do you mean he's got his timing wrong on contracts? In terms of, has he contracted some of the youngsters too early? Or just, if you would elaborate on that one for me, then I'll try and answer it more, because I don't know if it's a contractual issue with them. It's just, I don't really know. I'll have to think about it, but if you could maybe, compartmentalise that one a bit more for me, and then I will give it some context and I will answer it. Great Lakes goes, Reef was a good player. Well, I remember Riley Reef. Christ, what draft was that? 2011, 2012, I think. I remember. But yeah, Riley was underappreciated. Just because we've had Bacchus and Decker, everybody forgets about him, but Riley Reef was good. If maybe not living up to the billing of a first rounder, he still certainly gave us plenty there. Upicorn goes, there was an out in Decker's contract for this year. There was always a chance this year happened with Deck. Yes, there was. And in any other year where we didn't have as many issues on our trenches, I'd be fine with them exercising it. But with us having problems at centre, potentially left guard, defensive end and defensive tackle, as well as coverage linebacker, I would have preferred Decker to retire, or for us to have used an out with him on a year when we had less needs and could assign more resources to sort it without shortchanging anywhere else. It's just a really inconvenient time for me to lose him, but you're right, the possibility was always going to be there, and I guess they were hoping Manu would be ready by now, and Manu isn't ready, so that's the problem. The development picks have not worked. From 2023, 2024, none of these day 3 guys have progressed to a point where they're threatening to take a starting spot or a high level depth spot, which is really killing us right now. It really is. Terry goes, you can't waste draft capital on projects if you're paying your guys big money. I mean, in 2023 we could waste time on projects then, but not anymore. We've got to go back to trying to find bona fide starters again, because the projects haven't worked at all. We can't be taking projects this year. You've got to find as many players who are ready to contribute as possible. Even on day 3, you want to find high-level special teamers who have starting upside, like Malcolm Rodriguez. You want to try and find more guys like him who can immediately contribute on special teams right away and give you something in the rookie year as well, if possible. No more, we're not going to see him for 2 years and then maybe he'll be good, because we just can't afford that right now. Great Lakes State Guy Michigan goes, love Decker, but this was inevitable. I'm more pissed because he's likely going to the Bears. That's my worry as well. The Bears need a stopgap left tackle, whether they're going to draft a development guy or Ozzy Trapio is going to take that left tackle spot again and learn under Decker. And they've got a fantastic interior. Well, they did have a fantastic interior. He's playing with Jonah Jackson. Jonah was healthy last year, but Jonah is notoriously injury prone as well, so maybe not the best thing for them, but I could see Decker going there. He knows Ben Johnson. Unfortunate for us, but it's done now. We can't cry over spilt milk, as they say. Where does this injured player goal come from anyway? How many more before Brad gets it? I'm the same. People say they're cheap. They're just reclamation projects. It's not much against the cap. But again, as I talked about earlier, we give them importance on the depth chart. We know Marcus Davenport is an injury crock. We know Marcus Davenport can barely get on the field and play, and yet we still signed him last year, even though we were told it's a vet minimum deal, he's not earning much money. But Marcus Davenport was signed to be Edge 2 last year. Why are we signing someone who has an absolutely horrible injury history to be Edge 2? If Marcus Davenport was signed to be the last Edge on the roster, i.e. we had 2 good starters, a couple of good depth guys, and Marcus Davenport was Edge 5 or 4, whatever, I can buy that argument. That's fine. If he works, great. If not, he leaves the roster, we don't even know he's missing. But no, we assigned him as Edge 2. And he wasn't there. And when he was there, he was shite. And that leads us to a massive problem because we've got no one else there. Pascal's injured. Hassanin injured. You know, I mean, that's not Hassanin's fault, but Pascal we know has had injury issues. Pascal was meant to be Edge 3 last year. So when you're putting Edge 2 and 3 into the hands of guys who have not been good and have injury histories, when they both get injured, then you're left with a depth problem. It's not that I don't mind, it's not that I hate Brad going after injured players all the time. It's just their history has to be reflected with their roster spot. And he has to get harsh with this. As I've said, if Rakestraw's on the roster next year, bottom corner. If Levi's on the roster next year, bottom DT. If Pascal's on the roster next year, bottom DE. These guys have to be the bottom feeders on the roster, who we expect to get cut at some point, and if they come good and they surprise us, great. But if they get injured, it does not affect the team as much as it would with them being in the positions they're at. That's the problem I have with him there. So, I just hope Brad changes his strategy and starts getting brutal with them and starts saying to them, look, you can play here, but you are not going to have an important spot on this roster because we just can't trust your injury history. Prove us wrong, but you're starting from the bottom and you work your way up. Lions today goes this off-season blows. I mean, it does, but we've not hit free agency yet. It's been a bad week. We've lost Monty. Glasgow's retired. We've lost Decker. At the minute, the team's weaker than it was this time last week. But next week, this team's going to be stronger than it was this week. He says, fingers crossed, touch wood. You know what I mean. This time next week, at the minute, we're in the giving phase where we're giving players away from our roster, and with that we're about to get into the receiving phase where we get better. So let's keep our spirits up. I know it's not the best at the minute, and we all want to start hearing about deals being made and stuff like that. We want the roster to get stronger, we want trades to come in, but Monday is right around the corner. We are going to be getting reinforcements very soon, and we'll see. Maybe it'll work out for the better. Who knows? And plus, I can kiss Marcus Davenport's ass goodbye next week, and I'm so looking forward to that. The problem is we are replacing. We already drafted. We will be this year for some parts. Again, I don't like that. I like adding to my talent, not replacing my talent. Unfortunately, we're going to have to replace talent this year, but it is what it is. Lions today goes Lions O-line now. Marnu, Mahogany, Scruggs, Ratledge, Shull. Yes, that's not ideal, but that will get better. The Detroit Lions will put a lot of resources into their offensive line this offseason. Do not make a mistake about that. That is their bread and butter. That is their identity. They know it wasn't acceptable last year. They will fix it. I assure you they will. Pick 17 is more than likely going to be a tackle now, and we are going to go big for a free agency centre in my belief, and we'll probably add some more depth at guard to ramp up the competition there. We've already brought in Scruggs to compete with Frazier and Mahogany. Like, that left guard spot is going to be keenly fought over, so hopefully a worthy winner emerges from it. But yeah, where we are. Rakestraw missed all or part of 27 games in college, lol, round 2 pick. Yeah, this is my thing with Ennis. And people go, he's not been out 3 years. He has. So if you think about it, his last college season, it's 8 months until the start of his first NFL season. 8 months. He missed pretty much all his first year. So you're already, you've had the 8 months. So then by the time you come around to the second year, you're at 1 year, 8 months. He's missed all of last year and not played a thing. At the start of next year, he is going to be 2 years and 8 months removed from his last, consistent football. Players who are away from the game for the best part of 3 years very rarely come back because their bodies can't deal with it. And as we've seen with Rakestraw, he keeps breaking down. The durability's not there, and the longer he's away from the game and the longer he's not playing consistent football, the worse it's going to get. I've seen people going, I've already seen people with Rakestraw in their starting secondary next year. This is the problem. Are you going to assign a starting spot on your defence next year to a guy who will not have played consistent football in nearly 3 years? Because you are inviting the scenario that he gets injured in camp early in the season and you lose him for another year, and then you're a starter down already in a secondary that's already going to be missing Branch and potentially Kirby next year. You're inviting the devil in to dance with you if you do that. Nearly 3 years out, I would just say to him, look, you've got to fight to get on the roster this year. Your roster spot is not guaranteed. I know you're a second round pick. I know you're coming into your third year, but you've got to earn it this year because, quite frankly, you're not worthy of a spot next year with what you've done so far. It's harsh, but Brad needs to be harsh like this. We need to win a Super Bowl. We are on destination Super Bowl and we can't carry passengers with us. That is the sad part of it. Terry goes, Holmes falls in love with guys and got to get them no matter what. Holmes seems to look at the upside and not at the player's downside. I mean, that's got its good and bad sides. For the most part, that's been successful. They fall in love with their first round picks, and pretty much every first round pick we've ever made has been fantastic. He has drafted more All-Pros than that than pretty much anyone in the league over his tenure here. I don't think it's a bad thing with Brad. I just think he needs to... He's lost his focus on day 3. That's his problem. We haven't produced a good day 3 pick since Malcolm. We've not had a good day 3 pick since Malcolm. And Malcolm has been screwed up by an ACL and might not be on the roster this year. He's got to get back to the bread and butter. He used to draft on day 3 highly productive players who had a lot of college experience, like Rodrigo, team captain, 4-year starter, ton of experience, great special teamer, contributed right away. We've gone after guys like Varkey, who played here, there and everywhere but didn't play that much. We went after guys like Sorsdal, who played down at the FCS level and had a long way to come up, and we've picked too many gadget guys, development guys. Manu played in Canada, never even played down here before. They drafted him on athletic ability and potential. Brad's got to get back to basics on day 3. Just go back to your bread and butter. You were good at it once upon a time, Brad. Go back to it. Stop with the projects. Get the production. The guys who are productive will come up and do something for you. Yupcon goes, that is why Linderbaum should not be a free agency target. In regards to the money, maybe everyone should be a target in free agency. It all, for most parts, depends on the money. You've got to make the call and you've got to try and be competitive as a bare minimum. Do you think Brad practices guys too hard? Seems like we get a lot of injuries that way. That's not Brad, that's Dan. Brad Holmes doesn't decide how much this team trains. That's all down to Dan and his coaching staff. I don't think Dan coaches them too hard. If you think about all the injuries we've had, the major injuries we've had, Hutch, in-game, McNeil, in-game, Branch, in-game, Laporta, in-game. The vast majority of our injuries to our starters have happened in-game. In fact, I'm willing to bet that not a single one of our major players who's been injured has been injured in practice. I'm pretty sure it's all happened during games. So no, I don't think they're practicing them too hard. I don't know what's up, but the vast majority of our injuries have come from games. So I don't think they're practicing too hard. You notice during camp and that the vast majority of guys who get injured in camp are like the UDFAs, the guys we bring in off the street to try out, the ones who are not acclimatized to the way that we practice. But not our first teamers, not our core guys. So, no, I don't think they're practicing too hard. If there were more injuries happening in training, I would probably change my mind, but they don't, so I'll leave them as that for now. Woodward Sports headline fans have meltdown over Decker release, but it was easy to have a meltdown. I had a meltdown when I saw the news. I got a lot of tap on Twitter. People don't like me on Twitter very much recently. I run our podcast Twitter on there, but a lot of people saying I'm been over emotional and that. I'm worried about the 26th season with the amount of holes we've got to fill, and then when we get an announcement out of nowhere that our left tackle wants to leave and has gone, it's like, that's big news. That's going to make me emotional. I don't want Decker to leave because it means we've got another problem to solve this year, and we need to find a tackle who's going to work in the NFL right off the bat next year so that we can get back to the playoffs, and that's not easy. Not a lot of tackles come up to the NFL from college and just are immediately good, so of course I'm going to worry. And maybe not have a meltdown, but it's just kind of exacerbated my concerns about the amount of work we've got to do in the off-season to get this team right. Well, certainly shouldn't have a meltdown over it. I've calmed down now. It is what it is, but I was emotional when I first heard it. Great Lakes goes, hit the like button. Hey, appreciate you. Thank you for coming and spending your time here. I am just a Brit on the other side of the pond who knows nothing about the NFL. And the fact you come to choose to spend your time with me rather than all those American podcasts over there, and that, of which there are many great ones. They're in a very competitive pool. It honestly does mean a lot that you all come and chat with me. I appreciate you picking me. Maybe because no one else is live, but you know the drill. Terry goes, we need to draft or sign a free agency centre. Absolutely, we do. I think that will be our first sign-in next week. I reckon they're all going to be over it. Congo would love a couple of day 2 picks for Laporta. He is awesome, but we can't pay everyone. No, we can't. And we have to get used to this. If you suggest trading one of our rookies, it's like you're outcasted from the Lions community. There are the negative Lions fans right now. And then there are the sanctimonious gatekeeping fans who will criticise you for any single thing that goes against the ethic of building through a draft. And trading one of your rookies is against that ethic. And they gatekeep like no others, and they are just as bad as all the whingers on 97.1. Just because, I don't want to trade Sam Laporta away. Sam Laporta is a fantastic player on here, but at some point, I admit, we have to start doing so. So we've got more draft capital to invest, not just in the draft, but at the trade deadline, so we can fix things in season. We've been kind of hamstrung in the last few years at the deadline because we've not had the excess draft capital without ruining our upcoming draft to go and get players at the deadline. I would like to have a deadline where I've got an extra second or third round pick I can give away for a big talent which can boost our team to the end of the season. I would love to do that. And it's not sanctimonious to say that we can't pay all the youngsters. So, I'm fully on board there. If he's got to go, he's got to go. It's what it is. Ken goes, hi all, Anzalone is gone also, or just a projection. He's gone. He's absolutely gone. I think we had this problem last year. The team is just not willing to commit the money to him that he wants. And by all accounts, from what I'm hearing, the market for Alex is robust. Like, there's a lot of teams after him. Not just the Jets, but he might command upwards of $10 million a year after free agency. And unfortunately, as again, go back to paying all the rookies, we can't afford to spend $10 million a year on too many players. And he's 32. He's in his older phase now. I would do it. I'd give him a 1-year deal and give him loads of money, but they don't want to do it. So I think he's gone. Unless he goes through free agency and he's not happy and he comes back here cheaper. But I think the odds of Anzalone coming back are 5%. And I think that's generous. Levi will get injured in camp and we're stuck with him again. We won't be. Levi's only on the hook for about $2 million this year. So we're not stuck with him. We can get rid of him if we want to. But we give him every single opportunity. Keep him till camp. If you just say to him, from now, if you can stay healthy till pre-season, you're in. And if you can't, you can't. And we move on. Ray Lakes goes, Kirby is done sadly. Kneecap rubbing is career ending. I believe it's more serious than we think because the team is not telling us what it is. And I get, a player has rights to privacy and whatnot, but with most injuries you hear through insiders, you hear through somebody what the overall issue is. The fact they have said nothing about it is concerning. If it wasn't nothing, they'd tell us. But he's just... I'm of the opinion it's worse than we think it is, because they will not tell us what it is. And they refuse to really talk about it whatsoever. But hopefully we're wrong. But I think at the minute you go into next season expecting him not to play, and if he does, that's a bonus. Ken goes, he has paid a few of the guys too early, Kirby for sure. Potentially, but I mean, come on man, the trajectory that Kirby was on, if Kirby had another season like the one he had before his contract, we'd have had to pay him so much more money than we did then. Like, I know it's expensive what we paid him, but it just would have been blown out the water if he'd had another good season again. And again, we didn't expect him to get injured. There were no medical red flags. There was nothing that led us to believe we'd be in a position with him where he would be like this. So I can understand the sentiment sometimes of waiting, but Kirby was on an all-pro trajectory, or he was an all-pro. He was on a better than all-pro trajectory, so I can understand why they want to get him done early. Like Amon-Ra and Penne, you do them the second you can get them done, because they are only going to get better. And the price is only ever going to go up. And I think they felt that with Kirby, so I'm not too fussed about them with that one. But maybe some of the others I would be. Do you think Brad and Dan have a game plan or shopping list of players and prices they're hoping to get, so they are clearing specific amounts and contracts? I do, which is why I'm not worried that the restructures have not been made yet. Like, I see a lot of people like, oh, where are the restructures? Why are we not doing the restructures, man? Come on, we're missing out on all these players because we haven't done the restructures. The simple fact of the matter is, we don't need to make the restructures right now. If you restructured Goff, Penne and Amon-Ra for as much as you could, I think you can clear like 75 million or something like that. And plus there's other guys we can do as well. We can make over 100 million. Let's say, for devil's advocate, we restructured all 100 million and we had 100 million in spare cap going into next week, and we did it now. What happens if we get to free agency next week and we miss out on our top targets? Be it they don't want to come to us, they cost too much, they go elsewhere. What happens if we miss our top 3 or 4 free agency targets who we wanted to spend a lot of money on, and then we pick up guys who are cheaper, and then we've got a lot of spare cap that we don't know really what to do with, and you end up carrying a lot of that cap through the season. That means all that money you restructured and fired into the future, you did needlessly. In an ideal world, you don't want to restructure too much because it keeps contracts bearable for the future. It means you can cut guys earlier for less money in the future if something goes wrong. So don't cut it until you've made the deals. If you get to next Monday and let's say you get Tyler Linderbaum, you get a couple of other guys, say you have a free agency class worth 40 million that you need, then you make the restructure when the players have said, yes, I want to come to Detroit, I'm going to sign this contract. Then you restructure the amount you need to do to work with it. So you're restructuring the money, but you're only restructuring what you need. So I think they have a game plan of what they want, what they're willing to spend within the parameters of how much money they want to restructure. But I'm all for the fact that they've not done the major restructures yet, because we don't want to chuck money into the future needlessly, because that's just irresponsible. You just need to clear the money as you go and keep yourself under the cap, and that is it. So I'm a fan of what they're doing at the moment, because I don't want to restructure everybody. I don't want to end up like the Saints. Just do it as you go. But I think certainly they've got a game plan. They'll have a list, and I think if it's me, I think they'll strike early in free agency, because we've got to. We are a Super Bowl contender with a lot of needs. We've got to be at the front of the queue yapping for the biggest bites. So I think they will. I think contracts like extending Monty last year and getting Ragnar retiring and Decker not retiring have the biggest impact on the roster that's success. Yeah, the Monty one may be. I think they always knew they were going to push Monty out the picture eventually. I mean, they rewarded him for doing so well, but I think the contract was too long. So the Monty one I can agree with. The Decker one at the time Decker wasn't having injury issues when we gave him the new contract, and it only went up till next year, his age 33 year, so it's not like we'd locked him in till he was 36 or 37 and potentially just completely gone as a player. I think the Decker one was sensible enough at the time. The problem is the Lions have held out big contracts and then players have immediately got hurt. That is just the way of life. That is unfortunate. There's nothing you can do to legislate against that. So I think, it is bad. Ken goes, split milk in the backseat of a sunny car, smelly stuff. There's nothing worse. Absolutely nothing worse. I've had a milk carton burst in my car before. You never get rid of the smell. Lisa's in the chat. She goes, hello, my friends. Hope you are well, Lisa. Terry goes, there's a difference between a guy getting injured in camp or season. If the guys that have injury history he drafts or signs, yeah. I mean, we've gone through a lot of that. He just needs to be more critical with them this year. Thank you, Lisa. Yes, please do hit the like, share, subscribe button, all that good stuff. You know what you're doing, but appreciate everyone who's in the building with me. I am enjoying this as always. He goes, did you get the huge rain in Florida, Lisa? My sister told me some places down there got 7 inches in one day. God, you're all having extreme weather over there at the minute. I hope you are all safe. And I hope you're feeling better, Lisa, because if I remember last time, you weren't feeling too well, so hopefully you're doing better, Lisa. We want you to be fit and fighting healthy. Terry goes, we can't even sign and body an FA. We're finally under the cap and just enough money to sign our draft picks unless we cut more guys or redo contracts. We'll redo contracts, Terry. We can do 100 million in restructures. We have as much money as we need to be aggressive this year. I said this in our Be the GM thing. We don't want to restructure all 100 million because that would be irresponsible for the years going forward. But if we need to, we have it. So our cap situation is not to worry about at all. We just want to minimise the amount we have to restructure, but if we need to, we have the money. So the cap situation isn't as bad as we think. We're all good here. Lisa didn't get 7 inches. I'm sure she was very happy about that. So sorry, crass on a Friday night. Ken Stouder goes, here it's been going crazy day for multiple months. You've been fire hazard climate. Oh God, yeah, your climate over there is crazy. If we get rain over here, it's worldwide news. No, it's not, but you get the point. We don't get anything too funky over here. If we get anything from Rakestraw as a bonus, absolutely. So long as Ennis Rakestraw is the bottom corner on the depth chart. If you get anything from him, he will be a wonderful player to have as your bottom corner on the depth chart if he's healthy and fighting fit. But the fact is he's still basically a rookie in the league. So you can't expect much from him this year because he's still a rookie. He's not a veteran. He's just not played. He has not played. Hopefully McNeil gets back to all-star form at DT and not the end. Yes, and I will say a quick thing on Aleem. We need to stop being so critical about Aleem McNeil. Aleem McNeil had an ACL last year. Big men ACLs are tough to come back from because you're putting a lot of weight on that ACL. It takes time to trust to get back to your form. And do you know what the Detroit Lions did? Right after he came back from his ACL and he put back into the team, they played him 70 snaps a game. 7-0. Some DBs don't play that many snaps in a game. 70 for a big man coming off an ACL. They're playing him at 5 tech. They're playing him at defensive end. Off the back of an ACL. He's not got his explosion, his power back. The team grievously mismanaged Aleem when he came back, and yes, Aleem will say he wasn't as good as he could have been. Of course he's going to, he's a player, but this team did him no favours whatsoever. Absolutely none. It's ridiculous. How are you having your 320-pound defensive tackle play 7-0 snaps a game a week or two removed from coming back from an ACL tear? It is ridiculous. He is not a 5 tech. He is not an edge. This is all this positionless player bull that they go on with. He's not. Put him at 3 tech. He is a 3 tech. He's a great 3 tech. Leave him there. But the Lions really screwed him over. Hopefully with a fully healthy off-season, which he'll have, training, pre-season games, he will be back to his best next year, and they will play him at 3 tech. Then we will get the good Aleem McNeil back. Yes, he could have been better, but the team screwed him royally, and not enough people are criticising the team over it. Our team is wonderful, it likes its players, but sometimes it makes mistakes and they have to be called out. They screwed up with Aleem big time last year. Big time. Upicorn goes, I feel like Brad is going to try and stop the team with guys on contract, which means moving players for picks even if they are day 3. I'm a big fan of him. Use the trade deadline before free agency. We've got three sixes, a 7, potentially 2 5s if we get the comp pick. Barely any of those guys are going to make our roster potentially. Use them for veteran players. Let's get ahead of the market. Let's get some vets in before free agency who we don't have to overpay. Let's get some of those day 3 draft picks out the building. And let's get some veteran players in. We've seen a lot of trades made this week, and there will probably be more for the rest of today and tomorrow. I want us to use them. Or on Monday, whatever. Before free agency opens, get some vets in with those picks, Brad. So I'm with you, Upicorn. I think we should try and get some in. Ken goes, too many reaches with Brad's picks. We need people that are ready to start. Agree. Think that's what he'll do this year. I hope he will. Rakestraw, pre-season practice. Rakestraw can have the entire off-season like the rest of them, but he should not have a guaranteed position on the 53. If he makes it through the entire off-season and pre-season and he's playing well enough, get him in. If not, see you bye. Upicorn goes, I was driving when the Decker news hit. I got frantic to get home so I could find out more about it. I was just on my way to football. I was literally about to shut my computer down and take a nice leisurely walk down to my football game on a Friday night. And instead I'm like, nope, I'm going to take the car instead and I'm going to moan on Twitter for 20 minutes before I've got to go out. It was the worst time. I'd been sat at my computer for about an hour waiting for some news. Nothing happened. The second I get up to leave, oh yeah, Taylor Decker's leaving. Like, oh great, thanks. I could really do with staying for this, but yeah, I was not in the best position when that news hit. Great Lakes goes, what do you think we should do about Branch and Kirby since we won't have them for a while, if ever Kirby again? I mean, what do we do with them? I mean, you let them heal. You don't give Branch a new contract, not until he's back, he's healthy, and we've seen that the Achilles has not debilitated him as a player. But I think you've got to get a safety in free agency. You have to get a starting safety in free agency. A starter. Absolutely you need a starter, because Branch ain't going to be fit to start the season, so you need a starter. And then you have to look at the depth of your room as well. I would say Maddox is fine, but one of the beat writers put up some stats about Maddox the other day which were horrendous. I don't know if Avonte Maddox was actually as good as we thought he was last year and whether we were just reminiscing over it. I will have to take a look at him again. Obviously we've got Daniel Thomas and guys like that in there, but I think you certainly need to draft a safety and you need to get a veteran in free agency. But as far as Kirby and Branch go, you assume Kirby will start, and obviously you will not be ready for Branch. Branch will take some time, but you've got to get a starter, plain and simple. I am not going into next season with my starting safety pairing being Thomas and Maddox. That is not what teams who want to get to a Super Bowl do. Depth, yes. Starters, no. The unfortunate thing is we get nothing for Decker that releases him, no comp pick. No, we don't. I did float the idea out there of why didn't we try to trade him. And again, I had a lot of nasty responses on Twitter telling me I have no idea what I'm talking about because I'm British. No one's going to trade for a 32-year-old with an $18 million contract and an injury history. Maybe. But the entire $18 million cap hit wouldn't have been theirs. We're on the hook for some of Decker's contract. It wasn't $18 million, it was more like 10. And Taylor Decker, for good or for worse, was an average left tackle last year. He played most of the season as well, so he's not missed a ton of games. He's played most of his games. He's still at 32, so he isn't an old man. I would have thought we could get a day 3 pick from him from somebody. The Chicago Bears just gave a 5th to the Patriots for Garrett Bradbury. There's no reason, someone couldn't have given a 5th for Decker. Or a 6th for Decker. It doesn't really matter. You get another 5th. You've got 3 5th-round picks this year. Those 3 5th-round picks could be used to get you up high into the 4th round. It all matters. I get that there are seemingly reasons on the surface that might make a Decker trade seem improbable, but At the same time, they didn't even seem to try. This news has just come out of nowhere. He asked for a release, they released him. It doesn't even sound like they've tried to trade him. And it will come under the guise of, well, we want our player to go where he wants to. Screw our players. Sometimes we've got to put the foot down and tell them, you're going where you're sent. Because we need these picks for you, buddy. I think they could have made a better effort to trade him. It is a pain, but it is what it is. We wouldn't have gotten much for him, so I guess we're crying over... Oh, I've used crying over spilt milk already. I can't have the same analogy twice. We are... I'm going to suffer here. What am I thinking? We're a butterfly with our wings tied in the past with it. That was terrible, but hee-ho. Where was I? I keep going this. Oh god, I'm falling quite behind here. Yupicorn goes, love you guys, along with how you are tied to our other pods, crews I follow, pod and building the pride. You guys do a great job at being knowledgeable and passionate fans. Hey, I appreciate you, Yupicorn, so much. Really do. And people almost think we've been disingenuous when we say it, but we really do. You know, we started this podcast. This is going to be our 6th year this year. We're approaching our 6th anniversary, and you know, we did it in COVID. I thought it was going to finish when we came out of COVID. I had no idea I'd be a podcaster 6 years later. Well, I'm only doing it because guys like yourself, everyone here in the building right now, you're the only reason I'm still doing this. So again, we do heartfeltly mean it when we say we appreciate all of you being in here and saying all the nice things. So thank you. Great Liz goes, I meant Dan on the coaching too hard. Yeah, we make mistakes. I know what you meant. You're fine. Don't worry. Ken goes, Brad must have burnt some Decker feathers to get released. No trade. Taylor was a team guy, but something happened. The team asked him to take a pay cut. I think Taylor Decker's been here his entire career. When you get to an entire career in a program, when you're coming into year 12 and you've played with the same team, I think you would be shocked if the team came and said to you, look, dude, will you play for some less money this year? We've never asked him that before, and given the service he's given the team, he probably feels like he's owed the money that we promised him. We gave him this contract. That's what I don't like about teams who put out big free agency contracts and then just can players after 2 years or trade them because they don't want to pay him. It's like, you gave him this deal. You gave them this deal and now you don't want to give it them. It is what it is, but I can understand why he felt the way he did. But you know what? Kudos to the Lions for not backing down. They could have just said, okay, yeah, you'll play on your contract. Despite knowing the amount of problems this causes for us in the off-season, they still made a call on it. And maybe with me saying we've got to be tougher on injured players, this is kind of what I've asked for. I mean, I kind of meant the players who never played. Decker plays, but maybe we're seeing the shift. We're seeing a shift here. Brad's fed up of having injured rosters. Brad's fed up of putting together rosters that can go to a Super Bowl and seeing them decimated by injury. So maybe he's at the point now where he's like, yeah, maybe I've got to get a bit more aggressive with these guys. And this is the first sign that they've gotten aggressive with an injured player or a player who can't perform at his full potential because he's injured. Hopefully that continues. Yupicorn goes, it might be a great year to get our comp picks rolling. I agree. Ken goes, I hate to say this, but it reminds me of when Barry retired early. Everyone started to disappear around him and he had enough. Hope it does not go that far or worse. I don't think it's like that. Barry retired because he was fed up that the team wasn't going anywhere. Taylor's not leaving because he doesn't think the team's not going anywhere. He just thinks he should have all the money he's been promised from his contract. This has nothing to do with the team and its direction. It's the same with Monty. Monty wanted more playing time. Decker wanted more money than he was probably worth, although that's the contract we gave him. I don't think this is comparable to Barry or Calvin. They left because of frustrations with the organisation. And the organisation wouldn't trade either of them. They just were like, no, you're staying here or that's it. The team haven't treated them this way. So I can appreciate the sentiment, but I don't think these two are fully the same. Right, let's go. We're definitely in a big hole for sure. I am concerned. I know they will do a lot, but yes, it's been a lot all at once here in the past week. It has. The Lions, we're passionate fans. All we want is for our team to get to a Super Bowl and win, and we had that little taste of it a couple of years ago. We got so close, And we've kind of frustratingly had to watch as we've kind of regressed back to where we were before, which is in purgatory, not making the playoffs. Of course a fan's going to be frustrated. You shouldn't be penalised for thinking that. All we want is the Lions to win a Super Bowl. And then, after 2 years of no playoff wins, when we finally think, okay, we've got to start making it back, our All-Pro centre retires, tries to come back and then gets banjaxed by injury, our Courier left tackle leaves, we need a new D-end, and people come in and we're like, we've not had an off-season where we've needed so many reinforcements for years. Probably the most since the first couple of years of this regime, certainly not the last 3 off-seasons. And I can fully understand why people are concerned, and then you are coming up to free agency, you lose David Montgomery, who's been nothing but a trooper for us. You lose your Courier left tackle. You see a few other teams make trades for players and get stronger, and we're not doing anything. And the frustration is building. I get it. I empathise with it 100%. I do. I get it. It's a massive Monday for this team. This Monday is the biggest day in this regime's history. This could shape a lot about what goes on this year and our future trajectory. For the first time, they have really got to get down and dirty in free agency, and we will see if they can do it, but it's there. We will find out very soon. Kirby was a 4th round pick, Ken. Kirby was a 3rd round pick, just for the record. He wasn't a 4th, he was the 3rd. Amon-Ra was the 4th round pick. Kirby was a 3rd. Goff gets 70 million this season. He's 70 million against the cap, yes. We want to reduce his contract down. Ideally, you want to do Penny and Amon-Ra more because they're going to be here longer. Jared Goff's on his last contract with us, so you don't want to restructure the max every single year because that makes his last few years problematic. So I would do some of Jared Goff, not all of it. I would do all of Penny and all of Amon-Ra because these two are going to be here for time immemorial. They'll have second contracts with us, and when the second contracts come up, all that dead money you've sent into the future can be incorporated into the new contract. So that's the way I'd do it. Terry goes, I don't think we can redo guys' contracts because of the void years we used to keep our guys. I think we need to bite the bullet this season and hope our contracts get smaller over the years. Yes, we can do. You can redo a guy's contract so long as he's got more than 1 year left. You can't restructure a contract with 1 year left because there's nowhere to send them money. So long as they've got 2 or more years left and they've got a base salary, you can restructure them. Even if there's void years involved. The void years don't mean anything. You're restructuring the money to the rest of the years of the contract, not the void years after. So with Penny we can do it, Amon-Ra we can do it, Goff we can do it. It's only the guys in the last year of their contract with void years you can't do that with. But we can do all the others, so long as they've got at least 2 years left and they've got a base salary worth doing. Ideally, you want guys who've got 4 or 5 years left, so you can spread a restructure over 5 years. The amounts end up being very little. Great Liz goes, I don't think they've paid them too early at all. Those guys are all on their way to massive deals where, yes, absolutely. You also don't want other teams to know what we're up to as much as possible, and so you can kind of mask your moves. Yeah, exactly. We've got to be careful. We've got a lot of holes to fill now, but there'll be scenarios available for everything. Their top targets, what to do if they miss their top targets. I think they'll all be ready, and they'll attack vigorously. Ken, is that cap hit or he gets 70 million? His cap hit is 70 million. If we just left the contract as it was, he would get 70 million this year, but we won't. We'll restructure it. As much as I don't like him, players, what do you think about Nick Chubb prove-it deal? Again, if you wanted to bring him into camp, give him a vet min deal. I don't know what he'd be after, but if you want to give him vet min, come and try out in camp, and then maybe give him a bigger deal a little later down the line, I'm all aboard. All aboard. So long as we don't bring him in as running back 2. Again, that's the problem. Don't bring him in as running back 2. That's fine. Otherwise, for that. I'd rather a try-it deal for Bradley Chubb. Potentially. Terry goes, Anthony, what happened to guys coming off the books like Raymond, Alex, Rock, Yasin, etc.? They just come off the books. That's all that happens with them. For the most part, at the minute, the Lions had 2 restructured contracts on their book, Taylor Decker and Jack Fox. That was it. All the rest of our players, if some of them have got void years involved, they will still be on the cap for a couple of years with voids, but I don't believe any of them. Let's just have a quick look. I will do the math now for you, because I've been looking at Spot Track a lot recently. Where were we? Our void years are mostly with our longer guys like Kirby and stuff. And again, the thing with void years only stay void years so long as players see out the contracts. If you cut a guy early, all those void years roll up. So, again, you only use void years for guys you're expecting to stay the long term, because it's just not good otherwise. Dead cap this year, we are at, with Decker, 26.5 million in dead cap. That is 11th in the NFL, 11th most. Obviously, not everyone's come under the contract. Not everyone's under the thing yet, but the main hits this year: Decker at 9.5 million, Montgomery at 5 million, Reader at 3.7 million, Ragnow at 3.6 million, Glasgow at 3 million, Anzalone at 1.2 million. So some of them have had money moved in a little bit, but not too much. It's this Decker one that's... we were like 20th in the league for dead cap before this. So yeah, that's where we're at in the dead cap sitch right now. It's certainly not as bad as some other teams. Let's just put it that way. And Ragnar's contract's still on there. I assume because he came back last year, we've then been put on the hook for what we were owed this year. But yeah, for the rest of them, we don't owe a penny for them. But if you want to give them new deals, you've got to be under the cap before you give them new deals. And when the Lions are not under the cap yet, or no, they will be now. I think. Where were we? I'll just see. I think we're about 5 million under the cap currently. Yeah, 5.5 million in cap space we've got. So we could start handing out some deals now. But I would expect to see the restructures first. Paul Onion goes, he hasn't been cut yet, so a straight trade could still technically materialise. Is he not? Apparently the trade has been requested. I don't know if it's been officially confirmed by the league, but it's as good as happened. And he's put out a statement saying as much. So I would doubt that we can rescind that and send him somewhere, because it makes it sound like the Lions have agreed that he can just go wherever he likes. People are saying he got a no trade deal. I don't think that's true. I don't think any Lions have a no trade clause. Again, I will have a look at Spot Track, because Spot Track keep an eye on this better than I know, but not a lot of Lions have no trade clauses. No. Or does Goff? No, sorry, Jared Goff has one. Jared Goff is the only player on the roster with a no trade clause. That's it. So I don't believe it's so. And when I was checking earlier when Decker was on the roster, because I was looking at it this morning, he didn't have one next to his name. So yeah, Jared Goff is the only player on the Detroit Lions roster with a no trade clause. Not even Amon-Ra or Penne have them. DC Smithers, good to see you. He goes, you can still trade Tekka before Wednesday. Technically, yes, but again, look at the language used in the release of his name. He has asked for his release, and he is gone. He wouldn't put out a press statement saying he's asked for his release and it's been given if he was going to be traded. So I think the odds of trading him now are gone. It sounds very much like the Lions have just said you can go, and they probably can't change that now. Obviously, charging him for Froholt would have been nice. You can still get Froholt. You'll probably get a 5th round pick from him. But yeah, the language in Decker's leaving letter makes it sound like there's no chance. Is Jonah Williams any good if healthy? He's alright. He's not going to be a tackle that blows you away, but he's serviceable. Like a swing tackle? Yeah, fine. Do not mind that whatsoever. So we'll see there. Upagon goes, it felt like we have asked a bunch of players to renegotiate under this regime. Is that just because we notice now, or do we do that more than other teams? I don't think we do. I mean, I'm trying to think. Who did we renegotiate? So, the edge from the Falcons, Kaminsky. We asked Kaminsky to renegotiate, but that was after he'd been injured all year, which was fine. I don't think we've had any issues with others renegotiating. Did we? I don't think we did it with Glasgow last year. I don't think we did. I think Taylor Decker's one of the only ones we've asked to take a pay cut. I think maybe going back to Romeo Aquara, we did one with him. We definitely did one with Kaminsky, and Kaminsky said yes, but we gave him a lot of money. I could be wrong, and call me out if I am, but I think this is the first time we've asked a player to take a pay cut since John Kaminsky, and that would have been 2 years ago. So I don't think we have an issue that way. But again, I could be wrong, and if I am, I apologise. I'm thinking off the top of my head there. Lions are on the 0-4 Pistons arc. The team got good, but needs to change some major prices before getting over the hump. I agree. I think we're in that. I think we've got to get aggressive now. We've been patient for 5 years. We've been very patient. Now we need to get aggressive. Look at what the Wings did today. Everyone was going off at Iserman, and the Wings. 7 years they've been waiting. They've not even made a playoff game. They looked really good this year. They didn't do dick at the trade deadline that last year. They collapsed from a good position, didn't even make the playoffs. They needed to change their approach this year, and they went out and got a guy for a first, a third, and 2 picks. They were aggressive this year. They went and got a top player. So they've changed what they do. They got Perron back as well. So hopefully the Lions are going to do similar. And the Tigers this year, if they need anything at the deadline. We also don't have all the details of his injuries in front of us. They could have been a lot worse than when we were told. Great point. We don't know. And we've heard from, when I heard Taylor talking about the injuries, it was like, oh yeah, this guy's retiring. This sounds like a guy who's fought the war and he's ready to go home and put his shield down. And he sounded like, I was shocked when he said he was coming back. So I agree, there could be some serious issues there, or issues that might lead to a massive regression next year where he doesn't play at all. So you bring up a great point there. Malcolm Kuntz or AJ Epinesa. Am I thinking about just the player or the scheme fit here? Upacorn's put it in there. Epinesa is our type of edge, but I think Kuntz is the better player. And generally, in my history with the Lions, I like players who don't fit the Lions for some reason. I just do. I wouldn't mind either or, but I'd want them to be edge 3. I'd want someone bigger than that coming in, quite frankly. But if they were the third guy, great. Nothing yet on the transaction wire for Decker. There probably won't be until... I mean, Spottrack have already put it through. I know Spottrack's not affiliated to the NFL, but they've already put it through as a thing. So that generally happens when it'll be put through on the day's business. So expect it today or tomorrow, probably. Like when the Bears centre retired. It took them 2 days to put the transaction through, so it'll all just be a formality at this point. The football version of the Red Wings trade today is if the Lions would have traded for Jalen Phillips at the deadline. Oh, is it not a good one? Okay, that's my bad. That's my bad. I don't know much about hockey, so I don't know whether it's a good trade or not. It's just that is something that Yzerman never does. He's never made a deal at the trade deadline, really, one that involves his first round pick and prospects. He's been pooling them for years. All I have is he's changed his mentality a little bit, so I'm just kind of using that as a compass point there for potentially what Brad might do. Have I caught up with the comments? Oh, it's taken me some time, but I appreciate that. I'd probably go for about another 10-15 minutes, so, get your final questions in whilst I'm still here before I go and sit down on the sofa for a bit before I go to bed. It's about 1:45 in the morning here, but I've still got plenty of beans in me just yet. Thoughts on Jason Barham? The Michigan man. It feels like every year people know I treat Michigan prospects more harshly because a lot of y'all are Michigan fans and look at them sometimes through rose-tinted glasses, so I have to be the guy that disagrees a little bit. I don't mind Jason Barham. I think, obviously if you bring Barham in, then, oh Christ, why am I forgetting names here? Derek Barnes' job is in trouble because that's the kind of player that he is. Your outside linebacker type who you're going to be wanting to go and make plays in the backfield, your tackles for loss, your sacks, to help in that degree. A really good athletic player off the edge. I think he's a good player. I think if you're looking for the Sam linebacker role on the Lions team, you're probably not going to find anyone who's going to fit better, but as people who know me know, I have a problem with our defensive system. I don't think it works. I think we need to change it, and with Barnes on the team, I think I don't see the point of having Barnes and Barham here, unless we're going to cut Derek Barnes in a shock move and free up some cap with him because we're not happy with him. But he is a really good player, don't get me wrong. If we did draft him, I'd be happy. We need more guys who can work at that position, and we need more negative plays in the backfield. Derek Barnes was a massive disappointment last year in that regard. He was not as advertised, so I can see why they're looking at them. Personally, for me, I'm looking at other linebackers. Kyle Louis is the one I'm looking for. He can also do what Barham does, but he can work as... So, Kyle Louis is a full-up star linebacker. Barsham isn't. He is an outside linebacker. Kyle Louis has the build of a safety, the coverage athletic ability of a linebacker, and he is a fantastic blitzer. It's what they do at Pittsburgh. I love the system, I love the scheme, I love the players. I think he's a little bit more versatile and would give a bit more to this team in the range you're going to be drafting Barham, depending. So this is just personal preference with me, but he's a good player, no doubt. No doubt. He had to step up big this year with Michigan losing all the great prospects on their D-line. I thought he did a very admirable job. And I mean, his predecessor from last year, what's his face, the old Coastal Carolina one, Josiah Stewart, he had a decent first year in the NFL. And Barham's probably better than him, so, odds are looking good for him in the future. Oh, no, it was good, appreciate it. Like, Falk is the kind of player any team would love to have, but not a lot of teams would want to spend on him. He is okay, better than Phillips for sure. Keldrick Falk is an anomaly. I don't like guys like him usually because they're hybrids who work 5 tech, 4 3 tech type, and they work the edge as well. I don't like tweeners on the defensive line, period. But he's got the athletic build and the ability to work as a stand-up edge rusher. His 2024 season was phenomenal. Like a lot of edges this year, he didn't kick on the way they thought he would. That Auburn team shock him. I just see something in him where I'm really excited by him, and we've got to forget he's 20 years old. He's coming up as a true junior. So he does have a 10-sack season under his belt in the SEC, which is promising. And he's got a lot of body of work behind him, and he's young, so you're going to have more years to develop him. Like, he's 5 years younger than Messador. Like, he'll be coming up to his second contract by the time he's Akeem Messador's age. Like, his ceiling is so high, and at this point, I don't know, even me, I don't like guys like him, and I like him. I think there's something special about Keldrick Falk. He would be one of the top preferences, probably TJ Parker, then Keldrick Falk would be the edges for me at that point. So yeah, obviously my word means nothing. I'm a random bald guy on the internet who does this in his spare time at home, but I like to think I'm okay at it. But I wouldn't mind him, to be fair. Is Cam Jordan washed? No. I mean, he got 10.5 sacks last year. The only problem is, you just know damn well that the second another team signs him, he's going to regress. He is a career saint. And players who spend their entire career at a team generally have more incentive to do well. He's like their all-time sack leader or whatever. I just feel like the second you move Cam Jordan out of New Orleans, he is going to become half the player that he is. And he's 36. It's not a long-term solution for the Lions. We need long-term solutions because right now our edge room is Aiden Hutchinson. That's it. Hassanin may be the future, but he's not played in a year. We don't know yet. And the rest of them, there's no youth. There's no future here. And Aiden's one of the highest paid edge rushers in the league. So I just want to get younger at edge. I want more rookie edges in there so we can rebuild at the position again and not have a really old veteran on the other side of the line. I don't want Calais Campbell. I don't want Cam Jordan. I want someone younger. Preferably a first-round draft pick, maybe. But we'll see. I don't think he's washed. I just don't think he'll be effective as away from his home pride. But if you want to bring him in on a cheap-ass deal and have him be edge 4 for the year, fine. I can buy that. The experience will give you a lot on the team. Ken goes, so the Goff contract, he gets $69.6 million against the cap, $55 million guaranteed, $14.6 million on a signing bonus. Yes, that is correct. Would you take Khalil Mack on a 1 year, $14 million? No, that is way too expensive. I would rather just bring AQM back for $9 million. If you're going to offer me the choice between Khalil Mack at 14 and Al-Qadim Mohammed at 9, I'll take Al-Qadim Mohammed. Even just for 1 year, I think that's a little too rich, given our money woes this year. Unless you're going to void contract some of it. Maybe if you void it, I could probably get... If you put some void years in, I could get behind it, but I don't know if you can put void years in for a single year deal. I'll have to check. John Kaminsky actually volunteered to take a pay cut because he wanted to come back so bad. Yeah, he did. I mean, like, the team asked... I'm pretty sure the team asked him, but anywho, he is one of the examples of a guy who took a pay cut. But I'm pretty sure the team asked him because they didn't want him... Because his cap hit was high. We gave him a good deal. Like, I think his cap hit was like 8 or 9 million for the year after his injury, and obviously you don't want to pay that much to a guy who's been on the rotation. But he did it the right way because, you know, we gave Kaminsky a chance. We took Kaminsky off the Falcons, cut him, and we took a chance on him, and he got his chance here. So the team gave him a chance. He gave us a chance. It kind of worked really well with Kaminsky. I miss him. That injury to his arm really screwed him up because he had to play in a club all the time. It was again, injury, Banjax in it. Charles Harris. Remember Charles Harris just before? We revitalised Charles Harris's career, then he got injured. Just, it is the way, as the Mandalorian says. Do you like Will Lee and Takario Davis? I don't want Falk, he's boom or bust. I get that. Takario Davis I like, that's via Ryan. He obviously didn't have the best year at Washington, but he's 6'4". I've been adamant we need a taller corner. Our corners are smaller and less durable. Takario Davis was the only corner who came in at 6'4", or close to it at the combine. All the other guys who were listed as 6'4" were smaller. And he's a baller on his day. The Arizona Takario Davis was one of the best corners in the country. I would like to think it was just a transfer that messed with him a bit. But that 2024 version of him is still in there. And he looked good at the combine. So I wouldn't mind Takario Davis. Willie I don't know as much about, so I can't really give an answer just there. Jonathan Anton's in the chat. He says, good evening. Hope you are good, Jonathan. Thank you for stopping by. Great, let's go. If you had your choice of any free agents, just one, which would you take? Ooh. Hang on. See, this is where I've got about 20 notebooks here with various stuff in, and you're going to have to bear with me. Hang on. No, that's not a lie. Who do I want? Charlie Kohler. I would take Charlie Kohler in a heartbeat to be our tight end 2. He is very well versed in the blocking scheme with Baltimore. He has been wide receiver 3 as a receiver on that depth chart behind Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. He is a much better receiver than he's given credit for. But again, he's got the size, the frame, the stature, and we need a tight end 2 who can fill in for Sam if his back injury hinders him. Like, we can't just have a regular tight end 2 like Brock Wright. He's not good enough. He can't take over a game if Laporta's out. Charlie Kolar could, and I know backup tight end may not seem like the most sexy pick in this free agency class, given all the issues we've got, but I am desperate for us to get a better tight end in, because our tight ends are naff after Sam Laporta, and we really need to rebuild that room. So Charlie Kohler is one that I would be all over in free agency. I'd really want to get him. I mean, obviously Linderbaum would be the sexy pick, like the really sexy pick that I'd like, but I don't think we're going to get... Where the hell's my white book? I did it in my Be the GM episode in here. You should see, I've got about all the notes I've made over the last 5 years of drafts and for the podcast and everything. I am so disorganised. I keep all these thoughts in my head, and I just never get around to sorting it all. Where were we? Here we do. Charlie Kohler we had on there. I didn't put any other ones in here. Damn it. Why didn't I do that? I do have a list somewhere. But yeah, Charlie Kohler would absolutely be up there. I think Boy Maffey is another one I'd have if I'm looking for a secondary edge. I think Boy Maffey is exactly what we need. His stats are not sexy, but his pass rush win rate is damn good. And I've been desperate for more guys who can win at the line of scrimmage. We need more tackles for loss on the team. We're bottom 3 in the league for them. So we need guys who are technically gifted, who can win their battles one-on-one and get into the backfield. I think Boy Maffey would be a really good complementary piece for Hutch. Obviously, he's just been part of the rotation that's won the Super Bowl as well. And I don't think he'd cost the most in the world either. I think you'll get major bang for your buck with Boy Maffey. So your Boy Maffey will be there, or Charlie Kohler will be there. There you go. You've got an offensive and a defensive one. They're not sexy ones, but they're guys I really want on this team. Absolutely. Where were we? DC Smithers. Farnu, Freeling, Lomu, or Miller. Farnu every day of the week, including Sundays. Spencer Farnu is an absolutely scintillating talent whom I love. You play him at right tackle, you move Penne to left. You watch him play. He runs, he does the exact type of stuff the Lions love to do. The amount of times they have him pulling, getting out to the second level, the perimeter stuff. He's one of the best athletes in this class. You watch him, he moves like Penne. I did the draft profile on him. He's Mr. Utah, born and bred. He's gritty as they come. He's very young. He's also a true junior, so he's younger in age. I think he's just 21 this year, if I remember rightly, or 22. They have to do the missions out there. But I slot him in at right tackle. He elevates our run game to the next level. Him and Penne would be absolutely superb. Having Farnu and Tate on the right hand side of the line would just be a recipe for success. And I mean, if you want to keep Penne there, Farnu has played a year at left tackle. He played his true freshman year at left tackle. He had never played at left tackle in his career. Kyle Whittingham and that Utah Utes team, they don't give the left tackle job to true freshmen. It's just something that didn't happen there in their regime. That's how good he was, that he made the move across having never played there, and Kyle Whittingham played him from day one. He is a special talent. I'm not saying the others aren't special, but in my own personal opinion, Farnu is us. He is absolutely this team. He is everything we're about. I will be super excited. And don't worry about the arm size. If you didn't see today, the combine's getting pinged. They believe the arm size measurements are incorrect because literally every prospect's arms were shorter. The ones who went to the Senior Bowl, everyone who came to the combine, their arms were shorter. That was every player, not just one. We think there's been some measurement issues there, but he's got a longer wingspan than DeJuan Jones, who's 6'8". His arms might be a little shorter, but the wingspan's huge. He doesn't. There's no issues that he can play tackle whatsoever. The wingspan's big. He's a monster. Spencer Farnu for me every day. In order. That's nearly in order. I'd take Farnu, then I'd take Freeling, then I'd take Miller, then I'd take Lomu in that order, but Farnu's at the top by a long way. My own personal opinion, of course. Jonathan goes, think we get offensive tackle in round 1, safety round 2, edge round 4. Agreed on offensive tackle in round 1 again. This entire century, left tackle's been manned by Lions draft picks. Bacchus, Riley Reef, Taylor Decker. They draft their left tackles and they draft them for the long haul. They're not coming from free agency, and we need a starter next year. So I'm almost convinced that 17 pick is a tackle now. We not pay back more than the veteran min. Now, how about a mid-level like Quitty Pay? I wouldn't mind Quitty Pay. Quitty Pay's a speed rusher. I like my speed rushers. He's also quite technical as well. I think he's had a decent career. I wouldn't mind Quitty Pay here. Quitty Pay, Boy Maffey. Maffey would be my favourite by a little bit, but I wouldn't mind Quitty Pay being here. And, of course, Quitty Pay being the Michigan man as well. I don't know if him and Hutch ever overlapped in college. I feel like they might have. So maybe there's some familiarity there as well. Oh, we should not pay Mac more than a veteran min. I wouldn't pay him much more than that. Maybe what Davenport was paid this year. Barnes is the most overrated player on the team. He was the most disappointing last year. Is that fair to say? Yes, he was the most disappointing last year. On his day, he is really good, but we need that 2024 Derek Barnes back. It took him 4 years to get good, and then he was bad the year after we paid. He's had one great year in Detroit. He's too inconsistent, but hopefully we get the 24 guy back. We need to trade down from 17 and get draft capital and pick Blake Miller. If you can do that, great. I did the draft scenario last week, I believe. I gave you all the draft scenarios of what our potential returns would be for picking with guys between 24 and 31. There are not many great deals in there, and it feels like a buyer's market for those mid-teens picks. So I don't know if we'd get anything we'd agree to. If we could, great, but I don't know if we're going to or not. Ken goes, Ant, what do you think about free agent left tackle Rashid Walker, 26 years old, 6'6", 324? Right, all I'll tell you now, Rashid Walker, the left tackle from the Packers, is estimated to get over $20 million this year. More than $20 million this year. OTC and Spot Track's valuations are way off. He was a 7th round pick, if I remember rightly. Was he at Penn State? I can't remember. But his contract is, and everybody said this around the league, his contract's going to be in excess of $20 million a year. And I don't know if he's been worth $20 million a year. He's been a good left tackle for Green Bay, but they've also had their issues with him. There's a reason they're letting him walk. Hang on. Am I thinking of the right? Rashid Walker is Packers, right? He is Packers. He's either Packers or Bears. I'm pretty sure he's Packers. Yeah, he is Packers. Why am I doubting myself? But yeah, he's going to get over $20 million a year. So no, not at that price. If you could get him for $7 million a year, sign me up in a heartbeat. I would row over the Atlantic and give that contract with myself. We're not going to get him for that. Sadly, I don't believe. Yupicon goes, Charles Harris, Aquara, Kaminsky all took pay cuts to stay, and so did Graham at one point, I think. Now I worry we'll overpay AQ. Most of our surprise edges only give one good year. Yeah, buyer's remorse. I know a lot of the beat writers think we can get AQM for cheap, but it's going to be his last contract. It might be his last chance at a big payday. NFL teams pay for sacks. Like, you could have all the bad stats in the world. You have 12, 13 sacks in a year. Someone's going to pay you in the hope that you will do that again. I think AQM's priced himself out the way here, and when asked in an interview, he said, I'll go with whoever values me the most. That's very telling. He didn't say he wanted to come back here. He says, I'll go who pays me the most. So it makes me think that's probably not going to be here. Lisa goes, I think I was upset about the Monty trade, but any moves that make our team better are good by me. I need to see what they do. At this minute, I'm still not convinced trading Monty was the right move for this team, but I may be proven very wrong, and I hope I am proven very wrong. Should we cut Wright? I would cut Brock Wright. I don't think he's good enough. He's never graded above 55 in any discipline of blocking in his entire time here, which has been about 4 years. People make out he's like a super blocker. He's not. And even PFF agrees with him. And last year when Sam Laporta wasn't here, Brock Wright did not step up as a receiving threat. So he doesn't have the receiver. He had that one good game. And that was it. I just think we can do better. If he comes back as tight end 3 or 4 next year, maybe I can get behind it. But we need a new tight end 2. We need a proper blocker and someone who can be a receiving threat in the absence of Sam Laporta. That is not Brock Wright. So either move down the depth chart or get rid of him. Either or. Just so long as he ain't tight end 2. Is free agency tight end Daniel Bellinger a fit for the Lions? I'm not like Ash in that I don't instantly understand scheme fits and everything. I don't know off the top of my hand whether he's a scheme fit here. Would he be a good player here? I think he would be. But is he a scheme fit? I can't say. I'm not sure. I know Kolar would be because of how the Ravens love to run the ball and use motion, all that sort of stuff. With the Giants, I'm not as certain. So, unfortunately, I can't fully answer that one. I would just be being disingenuous with an answer there. Upacon goes, Linderbaum is a pulling centre. The Lions would have to lose 1/3 of their plays to bring him in. He was good being the centre for the most mobile quarterback in the league. He will not fit well here. Maybe not. But I always say give a player a chance. If he plays in one scheme for a while, it doesn't mean he can't play another scheme. You know, if you're paying him $23 million a year, you would expect him to be able to play run and zone. Like, you would expect him to be able to do both. But maybe schematically not. I know they're saying McGovern is the better scheme fit for us as a centre. But as I mentioned, McGovern's market was meant to be around the $15-16 million a year mark. And the competition's going to be fierce for him. So it could end up being $18-19 million a year. So either or, you're going to be spending out your back pocket. You either go for the more talented guy or the better scheme fit. But you are going to be paying minimum $15 million a year, whether you like it or not. Unless you want to go cheap like Cushenberry, and that shows we're not a serious team. And we are a serious team. I don't want to do that. I think we overpaid Brock Wright. Not sure if they cut him. We did overpay him. I think you've got to be brutal. Did Brock Wright show that he deserved to be on this roster last year? For me, no. No, he didn't. He didn't contribute enough for me, especially his cap hit. It's like $5 million or something like that. It's... Whew. Like, you look at all the rookies in the league, like, I think... Who else doesn't earn as much as him? Like, there's some really talented rookie tight ends in the league who've had 1,000-yard seasons who earn less than him. Like, I think that's a bad deal, and we should look to get out of it if we can. Give me what happened to Laporta. I'd say backup tight ends are a lot more important these days. A lot of teams are using the 2 tight end schemes. Yes, again, we need... Like, for me, Charlie Kolar, again, he just fits this. You've got 2 frontline tight ends who can be tight end 1s. But Charlie Kolar's not done enough to earn a massive contract because he's been tight end 3 on a roster. He's got to take a prove-it deal to show that he can be that guy. So he's not going to cost you the world, and he will fit in here like a glove, as they say. So, and you can run your 2 tight end sets there. And you'll draft a tight end as well. I think we'll draft a tight end to be tight end 3. And maybe have Wright in there as well. Who knows? Who knows? I think our first round pick, Tyleik Williams, was not worthy of the pick so far, at least. It's 1 year in. Let's talk about it in 2 years' time. I think Tyleik was always going to be understudy to DJ Reader last year, and that's a good thing. We had to force our first round picks into action from day one at the start of this regime. I think the fact, like, Tyleik graded pretty well last year and looked good, and he did that because he was able to work his way into the team and wasn't given a full workload from day one. I think we've developed him perfectly. I think Tyleik's going to have a massive year 2 because we've given him a year to acclimatise to the league, and I think he will break out big this year. So maybe on 1 year's worth of credit he hasn't been worth the first round pick, but I think this time in a year we're going to look back and go, yeah, that was money well spent. Isn't Maffei a free agency? He is, boy. Maffei is a free agent, so we can get him on the free agent market. Which free agent safeties would we target? I think we had this in here. Again, I'm sorry I don't have all these memorised in my mind. There are so many things to remember. I will have to get the lists up, but where are we? There was someone who was in my... So, from a purely selfish point of view, because he was the first guy I ever landed a massive draft hit on, because I said draft him in the 4th and he went undrafted. I would love Reed Blankenship in Detroit, because he was my first ever true draft love when I started being a draft guy. And you never let that one go behind. And yes, he didn't have the best 2025, but I think for an undrafted free agent, he's shown tons of ability. I think he fits Detroit to a T. That's why I loved him in his pre-draft process. He was so violent against the run. He is rangy as fuck, very athletic. You know, he's a hidden athlete, and he's a ball hawk as well. And you know, I think he helped that Eagles team a lot as an undrafted free agent. He has really surpassed expectations, and for someone who could come in and be a star, like I don't think Reed's going to command the biggest contract in the world in free agency. If you said, well, we'll have Reed Blankenship as our free safety next year, while bring him in as a strong safety while Branch is recovering from his Achilles, playing with Kirby if Kirby's hopefully well. That's a tandem where you can play him as a starter until Branch is back, and then you can rotate the three of them around and use them as you need. But I would love to see Reed Blankenship in Honolulu blue. And again, maybe I have a little bit of bias to that, but you know, I do think he's a great player as well, and I'm absolutely delighted he has been as good as he has. It's been so good. Outside of that, I mean, it depends. Maybe if you could, because the Bears don't want to keep Kevin Byard after the year he's had. If you can try and get Kevin Byard in a 1-year deal to be that veteran presence whilst our guys are out, I think that would be perfect. He's shown that he's not slowed down. I think he would be the perfect vet to bring in the building. It's just what is his price point going to be, because he's had a really good year. And I think he's going to want decent money for someone who's going to turn 33 this year. So I don't know if the money situation will work out with him. Outside of that, there's not a lot I'd want there. It's not the best free agent safety class in the world. And some of the good ones who are coming on are rookies who are coming on to big deals. I think there's really anyone else in that list that I'd want. Oh, let's get CJ GJ back just for the lols. No, I think it'd be Reed and Kevin Byard if you can make the deals work with them. Yupgon goes, I have heard from randos online that Kolar will be the surprise expensive tight end because he's so good at all phases of the tight end position. He is, but it's not on tape. And that's what NFL teams will say. Obviously, you've been stuck behind Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely, so you've got to have the body of work to back up the money. Now, obviously, there are some stupid teams in the NFL who will pay for potential. But I don't know how high his market's going to be. I mean, obviously, if the money's too high, then for Titan 2, then no. But I would love to make a run at him. And if I did have to spend a little bit more money on him as a free agent, if I had to overpay a free agent, he'd probably the one I'd do it for. Because I think it would be completely worth it when the deal is said and done. Ken says, free agent safeties, Nick Cross. Yeah, remember Nick Cross taken one spot before Kirby, if I'm right. But, I mean, he's had a decent career himself. In fact, it probably could be. I don't know what his situation is with the Colts, because obviously he's going to be coming off his rookie deal now. He'll be looking for his first... Because we paid Kirby early. We paid Kirby last year, so I think this is Nick Cross's rookie contract running out, so I don't know what his veteran contract will look like, his first one. But no doubt he'll want some money, and it is not the best free agency safety class, so it depends with him. OTC say 5.3. I could probably live with that. Give him 2 years, 12, 13 million with like 7-8 guaranteed, something like that, if he takes something like that. But obviously OTC and everything could be really wrong, so we will see. Jaquan Millen, 14.4 mil a year. I don't think we're going to be in that conversation. Not for anyone outside of a centre. AQM also had Hutch on the other side. Yes, got to take that into consideration. That's the Messidor argument. Yupcon goes, the best part about the Deccan news is that it means Brad and Dan had a plan for replacing him and they liked it better than paying him full price. Yes, again, we've not seen the riposte from Brad and Dan yet. Only one side of the argument has been put forward. We've got to wait for their side of the argument, and who knows, they may charm our pants off with their response. Lisa goes, I just want some decent players and not just okay players. Yeah, we've got to go for a higher level of free agent this year. Not just the bargain bin. This is not the year to be in the bargain bin, because when you've got so many starters to replace, you've got to hope for more than hitting in the bargain bin. You've got to go and get some genuine bona fide production. But I think they will. I think we will be absolutely fine with that. So we'll see. But, you know, it is what it is. We will find out. We're technically into Saturday now. We're 2 days away. And we will see what the response is going to be. Obviously, we're at the bottom right now. We're all feeling low because the players are leaving and we've got a lot of holes to fill. It's only up from here. Free agency will come, the draft will come, and in 2 months' time we'll have a far better team than we do now. Alright, so we down here. Okay, I think we will look to wrap it up soon. Let's give you 5 minutes. You got 5 minutes. I'm at 2:08 on my stream so far. I'm going to shut off when we get to 2:15 or get loads more questions. Any final things you want to ask, please get them in there. I appreciate the hell out of you all. I didn't know how many people were going to join in this evening. I just go as long as you guys are here with me, really. So the fact I've been able to go over 2 hours shows how many people have been in the building. And I appreciate you all for doing so. So you've got one last chance here. Let's just have a little look around, make sure nothing big's happened whilst I've been on. Bears sent a 5th round pick from the 27 draft for Garrett Bradbury. That is a hilarious move. I don't expect that to work out for them whatsoever. There's been more moves than I thought there would have been this week. I'm surprised there's been so many trades. Dalton Schultz has got a new deal with the Texans. Yeah, I don't think anything else has happened really recently. Obviously, Ryan Kelly has retired. It's funny how the entire NFC North needs a centre. I'm pretty sure the Packers... Do the Packers need a centre as Josh Myers left? I know the Bears have just traded for one, but they probably still need one. It's rare for an entire conference to need a centre at the same time. Joe Mixon has left the Texans, not surprising, given that Monty is there now. The Rashawn Gary stuff's funny. He wrote a goodbye to Green Bay and then said he'd been hacked. That's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. You didn't get hacked, son. You just posted it too early and it bit you in the backside. I mean, I know there's Michigan fans out there. Would anyone take Rashawn Gary as the opposite outside Hutch? He probably can't be asking for a mega deal. You can probably sign him for close to vet min if he gets released. Well, I don't know what his contract details are like, but I'm pretty sure they'd have to cut him. Maybe Rashawn Gary is. We could take him as a reclamation project, see how he does. There is potential in there for sure. He's just been wildly inconsistent, but maybe with Hutch, he's still in the run in there. Geno Smith let go, not surprising. Mendoza's gonna be the pick there. Cam Curl got a new 3-year, $36 million with the Rams. I'm worried about the Rams. Rams trade for Trent McDuffie. They've just paid Cam Curl a ton of money. They're certainly going to be the team to beat next year. Holy shit! Live news! The Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders, are trading Max Crosby to the Baltimore Ravens for the number 14 pick and additional compensation. Breaking news, Max Crosby has been traded. It is over, folks. We do not have to hear one more time what has gone on with this. Max Crosby has been traded. Oh, live on air. That's the one. The Baltimore. So he's staying in the AFC. Unlucky. Oh, a resident Browns fan's going to hate that. Still waiting on the full details, but yes, the Raiders trading Max Crosby to the Baltimore Ravens. Pick 14, additional compensation. That means the Raiders now have pick 1 and pick 14 in this upcoming draft. Oh, wow. That's a big move from Baltimore. Ooh. Oh, that is... I don't want to be... we don't want to be that... Terry goes, we respect you taking your time talking football with us. Hey, I love it. This is one of the best things I have in my life doing this podcast, which may be sad, it may be not. I love chatting football with you all, so I would do it all the time if I could. Maybe one day we can find to make a vocation out of this, but it is very difficult over here to do so. Would I trade for Kayvon? Yes, I would. 1 year, $14 million I think he's owed. So you trade him, you pay $14 million next year, then maybe give him a new deal. I would absolutely give him a trade. I would try to give him a go for that. So we will see. Sorry, I'm just over this news here. But yeah, I would give Thibodeau a go. I absolutely would give Thibodeau a go. If the compensation ain't too high, if we could get him for, I know. The trouble is we don't have a third. That's the really annoying thing. Unless we get a comp pick. If we could get him for 118, I would be ecstatic, but I don't think we would. Great Lakes goes, wow, was the Ravens defense that bad? I'm not sure if it was bad, but they need a superstar edge rusher. They've been relying on Calais Campbell for years, so that certainly gets better. And they've got Madabuike, the defensive tackle. That's nasty. They've got Travis Jones. Oh, that's a filthy defensive line there. Yeah, I was tired of hearing about Crosby and the potential trade as well, so I'm just glad the deal has been done. And I'm even more glad that it's not Chicago. Oh, let's all get the world's smallest violin out for all the Chicago Bears fans who thought they were going to get Max Crosby. I'm playing my world's smallest violin for all you Bears fans. That must be terrible knowing that he's not coming to the NFC North. I'm delighted. I'm pretty sure we don't have the Ravens on our schedule next year, so we don't have to deal with Max Crosby, which I would have been distraught if he went there, but that makes the Baltimore Ravens probably one of the favourites for the AFC next year. That is a move made for a team that has to win now. How pissed off must John Harbaugh be? Like, he's been there for years and that. The second he leaves, they're like, oh yeah, we're going to trade for Max Crosby, whatever. Let's have a look, see if there's any more news coming out here. Baltimore went to 2 first-rounders, so it looks like it's the Ravens' number 14 pick this year and their pick next year, which, if it's anything higher than 27 or 28, I would be shocked. But Baltimore have given up 2 first-rounders for him. So, yeah, I assume the full trade is going to be made out momentarily. I'm just keeping an eye out before we get away from here as to whether we got a full one on or not. No, just 2 first-round picks. I don't know if that's the additional compensation. They were looking for a player as well, so I'm interested to see whether they got a player. I'm assuming not. I'm assuming if the second first was involved, there won't be a player unless they've sent a, some kind of rotational player over. Max Crosby does not look good in a Baltimore Ravens uniform. I don't know if you've seen the fit that Schefter's just put out. That doesn't look right. That looks wrong. Purple does not suit Max Crosby. I think it's the purple and ginger. They don't work together. 2 firsts. Yeah, it looks like it's 2 firsts there. Baltimore had the nation's largest aquarium. It felt real close to the stadium. I got to see both a few years back. I love a good aquarium. Fish are food. They're comforting for the soul. One day I'm going to own some fish because I find them very therapeutic to sit and watch. But yes, we no longer have to hear of any more potential Max Crosby trades. That is the big news out of this. I'm so happy. If Love, the running back, fell to 17, would you take him? No. You don't take a running back at 17 when you're about to pay another running back $22 million a year. No, just no. Now, if you said, would I have Mike Washington Jr. at 50? Yes, I would. I would do that, but not 17. And preferably, I'd like to trade back in the first, get an extra second or third, and then I can feel good about Mike Washington Jr. instead. I would love that move. But no, just simply because we're going to pay Jameer that much, I don't think you like putting pick 17 in when you're paying $22 million a year to a running back. That's a lot of ammunition to put into a running back room. At least he's out of conference. That's huge. Now the Bears will likely go after Hendrickson. I would imagine we're in the Hendrickson stakes as well, so I will keep an eye on that. But yeah, they certainly will pivot to that. That's my favourite English word, schedule. Oh, schedule. There's some... Yeah. Our language is pretty cool with our words. Although, weirdly enough, my favourite word, I believe it's an American word, bodacious is like my favourite word. But I'm pretty sure bodacious is American. But it just comes off the tongue so naturally and just like, oh yeah, I just love it. It's just my favourite word for some reason. Ravens have 18.5 million cap space. They have some moves to make. Yes, they do. But you've got to be under the cap by Wednesday, so you can still go over the cap as much as you want right now. So long as you're under by Wednesday, you're all good. So it doesn't matter if they've got the cap at this moment in time. Just so long as they're down by Wednesday. And no doubt they'll just restructure Lamar and stuff like that. Ginger Cuz was in purple last year. Yeah, it just doesn't look right. I don't know why. Jeez, Lamar got $74.5 million on the cap this season. Yep. When you've got a franchise quarterback who's young and you restructure him every year, those cap hits become nasty. That's why you don't do it. Hendrickson looked like that uncle that put on too much weight right now. Oh, that's who I am to my little godson. I'm the uncle that put on too much weight. Yeah, I'm at that phase of my life now. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Have we got more news here? John Spytek just got off the phone with Max Crosby, informing him of the trade. The deal will be official when the league year begins. So Max Crosby wasn't even told. He's literally only just been told. He's probably seen it on Twitter before the teams told him. I don't ever get that. I would always make sure teams knew, players knew about it beforehand. So what? Las Vegas to Baltimore. He's moving coasts. That's West Coast to East Coast. That's a long trip for Max Crosby. He's got to go house hunting now, but he's got enough money for damn sure. But that's a long ass move for him. I mean, he'll be closer to Detroit geographically, but he'll still be in the AFC, just as far away from us as before. What if the Ravens trade Lamar? No way, Jose. Unfortunately for them, quarterback contracts are mostly guaranteed. So as soon as you guarantee money, that's on you. You can't trade it away. You've got to take the dead cap hit. And let's face it, you are not trading for Max Crosby to trade your franchise quarterback away and start a rebuild. Like, that would be cruel. Could you imagine Max Crosby goes to Baltimore and then just for them to trade away Lamar and start a rebuild? Nah, Baltimore's going all in. Their fans will demand it, and they are, because Lamar Jackson has a window. You're in his prime years right now, and you're never going to get him back. You have got to make a serious move. You have fallen constantly short to the Bills or the Chiefs. You've never even made... I think, what, if they made one AFC championship game with Lamar? He's been in the league 8 years. That's it. Not even made a Super Bowl. Not even won an AFC championship game. Like, eventually, you've got to get serious. This is what I don't want the Lions to be. I don't want the Lions to consistently be around the playoffs, but not in the championship game or the Super Bowl. Eventually, you've got to make a splash, and that's what the Ravens are doing, even though it's a new head coach. But what a present for their incoming head coach there. Like, oh yeah, here you go, Max Crosby, go nuts. Like, okay, I've got Max Crosby and Justin Madubuike on my defensive line. I'm going to win a lot of games of football. I am okay with Max going to the Ravens as long as he's not a bear. That's fine. Ken goes, that's bullshit. You think that... Oh, sorry, BS. That's BS. You would think the player would get the first call. Silly. Yeah, absolutely you would. I'm just trying to see if there's any more to this. They're not releasing the full trade as of yet. It might be a little while before we hear about it, so I would assume at most it's 2 firsts and there may be some other dispensary later round draft picks in there as well, maybe a small term player. Apparently the Cowboys were willing to offer a first and a second, but Vegas wanted 2 first round picks. I mean, good for Vegas for one. I'm happy for Fernando Mendoza. They've got 4 first round picks in the next 2 years now, and you know they've got some good value to be had. You know, they've not drafted as stupidly in recent years compared to what we used to them been. So 4 first, it's kind of like the Lions. They are starting from rock bottom, but they're starting with some big pieces there now. That's kind of like our Stafford trade. They've just traded away their Stafford. They're starting from absolute scratch. It's going to take some time, but they can now protect their franchise quarterback. They can trade back pick 14, get some more picks, really load up this year and start young. So the Raiders are going to be in a very healthy position going forward now. So I'm, good for them. Let's hope they're able to see that through. Good for both teams. Let's let the AFC kick the hell out of one another and we can pick up the pieces of whatever's left in the Super Bowl. Every AFC team sees a window while KC reloads and Mahomes heals. Exactly. There is a power vacuum now. And everyone is willing to get in there. You'd be surprised. This is going to have ramifications now. You're going to see AFC teams going after Trey Hendrickson and the likes, I reckon, because this is an arms race. And Baltimore just bought the first nuclear missile. Other teams will want them as well. Lamar Jackson, yeah, plenty of money there. What do you make of what Buffalo is doing, gutting their vet players? They're in cap hell. They've had to. Obviously, the Bills have been trying to go not all in, but the Bills have been very committed to this cause for a while now. The Bills missed their major window. They had the Chiefs at home 2 years ago, a bad Chiefs team at home 2 years ago, and they let themselves get beaten. Like, they missed there, so they're having to retool. But their cap sitch isn't very good, but they had to cut players. They were 40 million over the cap at the start of today, so I'm not surprised they did what they did. Curtis Samuel was a goner as soon as DJ Moore got traded there. You know the funny thing? Buffalo have the 3rd highest payroll for wide receivers in the NFL, or they did before the Curtis Samuel thing. And everyone moans Josh Allen doesn't have targets there, but apparently the things say otherwise. At least he didn't go to the Bears, says 6 String. Absolutely. That was my first thought. He is not going to be a Chicago Bear. Thank hell for that. We've just got to hope Linderbaum isn't a Bear now and that maybe he's a Lion instead. But yeah, Buffalo had to gut their vet players because of their cap situation. Kind of what the Lions are having to do now. We're having to affect our vets a bit so we can carry on going forward. Can't wait for all the Lions fans whining about not wanting to overpay for Crosby. Yeah, we were never going to. If you gave away pick 17 for Max Crosby, then you've got 1 pick in the top 120 of this draft. We have way too many holes on this team. Because one, Max Crosby is going to take up a lot of your cap. You're going to have to restructure 1 player just to fit Max's contract on alone. So he's going to mess up your cap. And we are not going to go into a draft with 1 pick in the top 120. We were just never going to do that. So the first is we can't trade our first. We just can't trade our first this year because we have got no picks to back it up. So it was just simply never going to happen for us, unfortunately. Much as I'd have liked it, there was no way, and Raiders wouldn't have taken future picks for him. But yeah, of course, the Lions fans are going to whine. We've watched our team get weaker this week, and we're watching other teams get stronger. It's frustrating, but our window opens in a few days. We'll start getting stronger in a couple of days, and we'll start feeling better again. Football fans are emotional. I'm emotional. I'm the most emotional person ever. I get really emotional about this sort of stuff. I soon calm down. But of course, everyone's going to complain. The sixth string, good to have you in the building. He goes, sorry, late to the party. You are. I am about to get out. I kept seeing I'm going to get out of here, and then something happens, and oh fuck it, we'll just go on to whenever. It's 2:30 in the morning here. I don't care. I'm watching my Storm stream with Ryan Hall, which is entertaining me whilst I'm doing this. So nothing is far apart in Baltimore. I've never been there, but I will take your word for it. Terry goes, KC will retool and be a force for years. Now KC will. They've got 2 first-round picks now, so they can retool this year. They'll get a receiver and a corner in the first round, and they'll be better for it. Bears fans are crying, absolutely love it. Jonathan Greenard is available for a price. He is. I don't know what the price is. Apparently the Vikings don't want to let him go, but they will if the offer's good enough, which leads me to believe he's probably going to be costing too much. Or we wait for them to cut him if they cut him, and we try on the free agency market with him, but I have a feeling the Vikings are going to ask too much, and I don't think the Vikings would trade him in conference to us willingly. Keon Coleman needs to get traded to the Rams so Stafford can make him the next Golladay. That would be fun. I hope his career picks up. I do, for Ash's sake. He likes his FSU players to do well in the NFL. Baltimore is expensive lifestyle. Average home over $1 million. Wow, that is expensive. We need O-line help, corner, DE, 2 safeties possibly. We need a lot of stuff, 6 string. We need a lot of stuff. So, yeah. We're going to have to be aggressive on Monday. That is the be-all and end-all of it. Wow. This is a fun one. For the first time in the Ravens' 31-year history, the franchise will use a first-round pick to trade for a player. Wow. Baltimore has never traded a first-round pick for a player, ever. And to whoever in the chat earlier mentioned about Baltimore's defense, Baltimore requires Max Crosby after a season in which it recorded its fewest sacks in 15 years. So it didn't get many sacks last year, so that probably fills a massive hole for them. But that is the first time the Ravens have ever traded away a first-round pick. That's crazy. 31 years, you think you'd do it at least once. Still no word on what the extra comp is yet, if there is any. I assume someone might have something on there, but everybody, yeah, 97.1 are going to be going nuts right now. 5 teams now have 2 first-round picks this year. The Raiders have 1 and 14. The Jets have 2 and 16. The Browns have 6 and 24. The Chiefs have 9 and 29. The Cowboys have 12 and 20. Ooh. That makes trading very difficult this year. For those of you who want to trade the Lions pick this year, 5 teams having 2 picks makes it tough, because generally teams who have 2 picks like to trade back, and they have more flexibility to trade back. But yeah, that is 5 teams with 2 first-round picks. God, these mock drafts are going to be absolutely horrendous to try and do. God, I wonder if there's anything else this evening. I assume that's going to be the biggest thing this evening. The Bears won't get Linderbaum anyhow. They've just traded for Garrett, so... Garrett Bradbury, not Myles Garrett. They've just traded for Garrett Bradbury, so I don't think they're going to pay him $7 million and then Linderbaum another $22 million. Seems a little bit too much there. Okay, I think it's just 2 first-round picks and that's it. There's no additional comp in there, so that is what that is. Do you like Malachi Fields? Yes, even though he had a less than ideal combine. I want a big X receiver on this team, be it Malachi Fields, Jeff Caldwell, someone in that era. But Malachi Fields, I think, fits us best. We need some big bowling ball on the perimeter that's good with contested catches. I like him. He ain't the most athletic, but he will get the job done. So, yeah, I am a fan of him. Homeboy out of EMU off to the Ravens. Wish him well. Everyone forgets Max Crosby's from the crate train. I love myself some crate train, and I always love to see EMU players doing well. Representing the green. Diana Rossini says Crosby was between the Cowboys, Ravens, and Patriots. Oh, I'm glad... how funny if the Cowboys would have traded for him after letting Parsons go. To be honest, I wouldn't like Ravens and Patriots. I wouldn't have minded. All of them, AFC teams. No, Dallas was an NFC team. But yeah, he stayed away from us. Unfortunately, we have too many picks, not enough established players. That could be an issue. Again, it depends how much money they restructure and how aggressive they want to be. We can free up to 100 million if we wish to. So we could technically fix all these. It's just how much money do they want to kick down the road? That is the question. But theoretically, we can fix it all if we want to. Do Las Vegas go OT at 15 now? You've surely got to put all your money into protecting Mendoza. There's no point otherwise. We've seen what's happened with Cam Ward, Bryce Young, guys like that who've had no protection whatsoever. They've really struggled to adapt to the league, although they've got better as time's gone on. If it's me, I'm investing an offensive lineman at 14 and 33 or wherever the next at. 2 offensive linemen. Start setting my line for the future. I'd probably hit free agency hard as well if I could. I would do everything to keep Mendoza standing, because if you do, you're going to win games with him. Sam Hecht is a bear. I wouldn't like that. I do really like Sam Hecht. He's a good one. Although, hopefully Jake Slaughter is a Lion. We will see. Right, I am going to leave it at that. We have been going 2.5 hours. It is 2:40 in the morning here. I'm going to have to go to bed eventually. So, yeah, I'm going to have a drink and then go to bed. Thank you everybody for joining this in. I appreciated the hell out of you all. I think we're going to make these Q&As a weekly thing. It's a nice little forum to come and do stuff like this. And we've had the fun of a Max Crosby trade as we've gone along. So appreciate you all. Raiders need an ex-receiver. They do. But so do we. So hopefully we get one. The Raiders will need most things. The Raiders are a franchise working from the bottom. They just want talented players. If they keep stockpiling talented players like we did, then they will be fine. How's it going, Ant? Going well, Gaviscon. I'm just about to get out of here and go chill. Enjoy your evening, all of you. Stay safe. Again, I hope no one's been affected by the tornadoes up in Michigan today. I hope you're all well, everybody's safe and secure, and hopefully no more come your way. We will be back on Monday. We will be live for Free Agency Frenzy. So if you're off on the Monday, I always take Free Agency Frenzy off. I make sure I'm not doing anything. We will be live at about 11 o'clock your time over there, because the window opens at 12. We will be reacting to the deals live as they happen. All of them, not just Lions ones, all over the NFL. It's good fun. Come get involved with that, and hopefully we get to talk about some juicy Lions signings. So we'll get to be a little bit happier than we are today, mourning Taylor Decker leaving the franchise after 11 years. So, yeah, we will see you on Monday for Free Agency Frenzy. Be there or be square. Appreciate you all. Take care. I shall see you again soon. One Pride worldwide. All the best to you all.